pro-freedom tone. Yeah, Soy Pill was coming on eventually, or originally, and then it turned out that they were going to be in an airplane. So, we're mostly going to be chatting with you, partner. No, he's doing his own thing. Probably, know.
Good evening, and welcome to the show that seeks to discuss the substance with just the right amount of control. The Marketplace of Ideas. I'm your host, Kyle Smith, and with me, as always, is a man who is likely on controlled substances right now, James Vagabond.
But I am
And
in
we
control of
apparently do
myself.
not have sound, James.
We do not have sound. Oh, I didn't. It didn't play the intro sound, but you know what? We'll just keep going. We'll just keep going. Y'all heard it.
Very well. Well, hopefully you heard
It's
what
already
I
in
just
your
said, and you'll...
hearts. It's already in your hearts. How could you? I hear it wherever I go now. The sound of freedom. The sound of freedom. So yes, welcome to the Marketplace of Ideas, where we try and explore the good faith and good fun in politics, debate, and culture. This evening we have with us again Tom Foolery. Glad to have you back. Welcome, brother. Appreciate you coming on. And we're going to be talking about the democratic landscape and sort of whether or not we should play towards the center or the left, and a lot of the specific issues and what we'd like to see Democrats run on. And then, of course, the tried and true topic of how hard do we need to prosecute the Trump MAGA crowd for their crimes against democracy and the state of law. And I think we'll get right into it with some Straw Man, Steel Man, our wonderful game, Kyle.
Straw Man.
Steel Man. Now, Tom, you've played this game before, but for anybody watching to whom this is a new thing, this is a game where we give our guest a straw man argument, an incendiary, dare I say perhaps even bullshit argument that they will then have to do their best to defend and turn into a steel man argument. And after that point, our guest has the opportunity to explain how they actually think and feel. And so today, with our lone guest being the returning Tom Foolery, we'll just set you up there in our Hall of the Heroes of Debate, and we'll present to you, Tom, if you are ready for it, your first Scroll of the Straw Man.
I'm so ready.
Hell yeah, that's the spirit. All right, Tom, if you could, please read.
Democrats should appeal to far leftists like Hassan Piker in order to capture the momentum of the revolutionary spirit of excited young people who will totally vote for a candidate who is against the Palestinian genocide and willing to bring that. You guys know what a run-on sentence is? You guys ever heard of it? And willing to bring down the Epstein class. Otherwise, this is just proof of the American Uniparty and the international fascist Zog occupied cabal. I think occupied is already in Zog. That's already the O in
Well,
Zog. But
we said it was a bad argument. We
Zog
didn't say-
occupied cabal.
As we said, this is supposed to be a bad argument. So all of the
You need
all
the
the
steel man,
grammatical
the straw
errors-
man, though.
You do, in well, perhaps
That's your job, okay?
yeah. Please correct our grammatical errors and also defend the position.
Yeah, bonus points for correcting our grammar.
I mean, this is not a position that I agree with, obviously, but I do think that if people feel like there is a lot of influence from Israel, there is a lot of influence from big pharma, big tech, all the big corporations that they feel like have way too much influence on American politics, and especially if you are on the farther edges of the spectrum, you're going to feel like there isn't a party that represents any of your beliefs and any of the things that you want. And so all you can do is just look at both liberals or Democrats and Republicans and feel like neither one is doing what it is that you want, and that they're more alike than each other than they are to you. So they're going to seem like the same people. I call this Overton depth perception, saying that the farther out you are from other people, the more they all start to look alike, the more they all kind of blur together. So farther out on like the left-right spectrum, everybody else starts to blend. So if you have like Republicans, they'll look at liberals and progressives and socialists, and they're all the fucking socialists. They're all the same. There's no difference, just the same as people who are far left look at like a regular neocon and think that they look like neo-Nazis and fascists and
I can't tell
like
the
that,
difference.
so.
I can't tell the difference anymore, because I've watched so much Majority Report that, like, I can't believe you're not showing your Nazi tattoos at this point. I just.
I was at a protest recently, and a woman stopped me and said she thought I was a Nazi.
Just straight up, Jesus. Well,
I was streaming as well, but so I got it on stream. It's a good clip on my channel.
Perfect, beautiful.
Wait,
Yeah.
Overton depth perception, is that yours?
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, I don't think anybody else has used it. I get accused of saying I made up shit, and then people find it elsewhere afterwards. So I will say leave some room open for maybe somebody else at it. But I've Googled it a number of times ever since I came up with it. I've been saying it for years, and I've never heard anybody else use it before.
Well, I'll tell you what, I will use it from now on, and I will not tell. I will absolutely tell people where we got that, because I love that term, Overton depth perception. That is a great and very pertinent. That you should be earning some
residuals on that. Easy.
And you should be earning some praise for a pretty decent steel man. Aside from saying at the beginning that you don't agree with it, that's not normally how you. Well, I guess no. You could make the case.
I mean, that's the way
you.
to say it. Yeah, you want that. It's if I'm just giving you my position, then it's not really a steel man anymore, is it?
Well, what would your position be? Your actual position?
Well, I just took a political compass test recently, and they gave me technocrat.
Okay.
So
That's
about
a
as
term.
far the other direction as possible.
Sure, but not necessarily as though some would believe a Peter Thiel enthusiast. I think that term often gets applied to the the technologically focused of the quote unquote elites in our society. But that's not really what the term means.
I'm not actually a technocrat, but the idea is that I have like a lot of trust in institutions and in systems, and that as long as they are like being, as long as the people in those institutions are performing their jobs correctly, that the that we should trust what it is that they're saying. But even when somebody like Donald Trump comes into the presidency, normally when it's Barack Obama, it's Joe Biden, like other presidents, we do trust what it is that comes out of their government, what it is that comes out of the White House. But with Trump and people in his cabinet, they're just so blatantly dishonest and like just disgustingly lying that I think it's still kind of works to where we're able to see this, especially from the media, who's able to kind of like show you facts and give you evidence for why they're wrong. And so I think our institutions are still, for the most part,
somewhat viable.
working.
Yeah, even though they're obviously infected
Yeah,
by the MAGA corruption for sure. Yeah. I mean, it works except in the places where they're making such insane claims that you're just like, there's the institution is clearly corrupt on some level, like when they report that there were no border crossings over the 2025 or whenever. Just brilliant right there. Like,
Yeah.
it's sometimes they're so obviously 1984 that I'm just waiting for the war with Oceania to erupt. It's on its way.
Hey, dude,
They've been getting away with too much.
I will give it to them.
Yeah.
I'll give it to them. If they want to claim that nobody wants to come to our country anymore, I will totally give them that. Be like,
yeah.
You know what? I think you're right.
Believable.
I totally agree with you. Yes, that is not hard for me to believe at all.
Yeah, I'd probably stay in Nicaragua for now, even though maybe the prospects aren't fantastic there at the moment. Rather than come to a place where the rights of the average American are just eroding day by day. Fun stuff. All right.
Where can I ask real quick?
Sure.
Y'all show, but
yeah.
Where do you guys stand politically? Like, what is your
a fair
where do you guys
question.
sit?
I am generally far left, but I like to think of myself. Have you ever heard of Chesterton's fence? Basically the concept of if you come across a fence and you don't know what it's for, you shouldn't just immediately destroy it. You should make sure you know why that fence is there and what will happen if you destroy that fence. And it's sort of it's kind of a Burkean philosophy. It comes from, I think, E.G. Chesterton 100 years later, as sort of like a summation of Burke's. I like to think of myself as a Burkean progressive to a degree, where yes,
So is this like
I'm willing to be
progressive.
Yeah, a realistic, pragmatic progressive is a great way of putting it. Someone who's I believe that we can go very far to the left, and I think a lot of the best solutions lie on the far left. But I'm not just blind ideology. I identify as something of a liberal communist. If you'll forgive the contradictions that people normally find in those two terms. I don't like expanding on that because that is a giant can of worms of questions of like, well, how do you get to a stateless, classless society? And sort of thing. I'm like,
well,
I'm an anti.
I will definitely be asking you those questions the farther into this that we get. But, I'll let you sit and think about it.
I'm an anti-accelerationist communist is a good way to put it. Like, I respect the important things that liberalism brings to the foundations of our society, and I'm not just willing to start tearing down that fence just to be like, well, it's stateless and classless. Can't be bad now. We did it, communists. And, there's a million defenses that one could make of like why communism failed, but a huge reason of it is it's often too utopian and not recognizing, ironically, not recognizing the historical conditions of each place. It's complicated. All right, just leave me alone.
I don't know that communism failed. Cuba just took out Hassan Piker recently, so they seem pretty powerful.
Beautiful. Yeah, we appreciate them for that. Yeah, I'm an anti-Hassan communist. By that, I'm a good communist, and so I hate all of the populist bullshit that's going on.
You're one of the good ones.
I'm the good one, the one good one, just like all communists think they are. There's no wall in my communism. I'm an anti-accelerationist. Kyle, your politics.
I would describe myself as broadly on the left. When I was younger, I mean, in 2016, I was very much a Bernie supporter, and at the time, I took it for granted that Hillary was going to win. I thought that it was all the Democratic Party coming together to screw over Bernie, and I was very unenthusiastic about a Clinton presidency. Since then, I've become a lot more pragmatic. My personal politics are still probably like on the further left-leaning end of liberal. Um, you could describe me as a progressive, and I wouldn't correct you. Uh, but I just consider myself to be a left-leaning liberal who will support whatever left-leaning candidate we happen to get in the after the primaries.
Okay. Yeah, I think
Information.
there's like if you look, there's I think it's on my Twitter, but there's like literally a a spectrum that like explains Overton depth perception, and on there it has, I think, like liberal progressive or something like that, and that's what I would call like a people who are like a mix of um like they're a little bit too liberal to just be called a liberal, but they're not like progressive enough to be called a progressive, and so they just call them liberal progressives. But the the pragmatic progressive, I think, is a term that a lot of people use more and more often because they see the people who call themselves progressives being a little bit too radical for them to fit in with those people. So
It's a good way to just.
Word. And in order to distinguish yourself from the perspective that you just steelmanned, perhaps we should look at something from the opposite end of the political spectrum for your next steelman. If you are ready, please read from this scroll.
The American people are sick and tired of catering to minority groups and special interests on issues that only affect tiny percentages of the population at a time. The Democrats need to focus on kitchen table issues and be the biggest tent party if they want to win, and should even accept pro-life candidates.
So, Tom,
Um,
if you could, steelman that position.
I'm not even sure I understand the beginning of it. Okay. Catering to minority groups and special interests. Okay. I mean, yeah, I do think that this is probably like the majority of Democrats right now. There was even a poll that came out recently saying that the majority of Democrats think that the party should move in a more moderate direction. Um, the I think that like the identity politics aspect of being a liberal or on the left has become like very unpopular. And even when Joe Biden and Kamala Harris got into office, a lot of people were very upset with the way that they talked about things. Like picking Kamala Harris as the vice president was a fine choice. Saying you were picking her because she was a black woman,
Ugh.
probably not a great idea.
Even if it's
And
true.
so these sorts of things, yeah, yes, exactly. Yes, even if it's true, this is not a good thing to say. And so, yeah, I think like being that overtly open with the like, um, I'm blanking on the term, but it's like a term that they use for like putting kids in college if they were black over others during like the Obama presidency, that was used really
Affirmative
often.
action.
Yes, that like that sort of mentality, I think that
DEI, critical
liberals really
theory.
want to distance themselves from. And yeah, I think Republicans have done a really good job is like branding us as those sorts of people, and I think the Democrats were those sorts of people. When you think back to like Nancy Pelosi sitting around taking a knee for George Floyd for 8 minutes and going into Chinatown to hang out with all of the Chinese people with no mask on to prove that they wouldn't get her sick, and just stupid crap like that. Like I think that like brand of Democrats was really cringe and embarrassing, and I think that it is good that the left moves away from that.
All right, so was that not even necessarily a steel man? That was that more to your actual beliefs?
Yes, it is. It is my beliefs, and it is, I think, the actual, like, I think the majority of the party is pretty close to that. I don't remember what the latter half of the
There was an allusion to the idea that the Democrats should even pursue more right-leaning policy positions.
Or at least accept people that do that into the fold, like including up to like
Oh yeah,
pro-life, in a red district election.
That also is something that I think is happening. Like there's not much of a choice right now. The party has brought in like a lot of the what I call like the Lincoln Project-esque Republicans, the never Trumpers. Like they've realized at this point that the party just is not going to go back to what it used to be. And even I'm somewhat one of those people who was a Republican for a long time and just realized that this is not anything that I'm interested in anymore. You have the Bulwark and, I think even Midas Touch is similar. Like there's a lot of people who were more centrist or even right wing that realize that the Republican Party has nothing to offer anymore. And in order for us to win, I mean, the independents and like centrist sorts of people do seem to be just a very large portion of the electorate right now that has to be won over in order for either side to win the upcoming election. So those are definitely people that I think we need to work on.
The question to me is how do we do that without alienating the progressive sect of our party? Like on certain issues you might not lose out too much, right? Like if we're just drawing the line at like, very niche trans issues that will allow to go towards more of a centrist thing, I don't see us bleeding too much of the left. But if we start going to neoliberal with economic policy or not promising enough for a better future, and if we really do start, there's not a lot of these issues that it seems like we're going to have to immediately sell out some group on, right? Like we're not going to start going anti-gay marriage or anything like that. But at some point, it might start loosening some of those demographics, African Americans, other racial minorities, gay and LGBTQ, and further progressives. If we aren't putting any fight up for them, then that might start to erode. That's a concern, but I also think the Republican Party is just so anti all of those groups that they know where their bread is buttered, and they'll, unfortunately for them, have to continue voting left, even if they're not going to bat as much for these minorities as they used to in the Obama era, etc.
I mean, I think a lot of the like culture war stuff, I think the Republicans have just done a really good job at branding the Democrats.
That's crazy.
Themselves, and Democrats have not done a good job at branding themselves. And so I think that when it comes to trans issues, I do think that they should be a little bit more outspoken on where it is that they stand on certain issues and not be portrayed as like, the blue-haired woke crazies who are going to scream "it's ma'am" at you every time that you fuck up a little bit. And when you talk to most Republicans, the majority of them will say stuff like, oh, I don't care if like, trans people transition, or I don't mind if they're I don't mind that they exist. I don't mind using preferred pronouns. I just don't want kitty litter boxes in my kid's classroom, or I don't want, it's always like some extreme straw man that has been created in their minds on the Daily Wire. And so I think that Democrats do need to do a better job at actually like talking about what it is that they believe in and expressing that very overtly, instead of just having Republicans constantly paint that picture for everybody else. Because even most of the time when I have debates and I have people, right wingers, who come onto my show, I do open call-ins, and they'll come on and pretty quickly like start throwing out these like, well, what about open borders? Okay, well, what about, trying to trans the kids? Well, what about and it's always like this, just a never-ending line of strawmen. And then eventually they're like, wow, you're actually like a lot more reasonable than I would expect a Democrat to be. And I'm like, bro, I'm pretty sure I'm fairly representative of the Democrat Party. Like, yeah, I'm sure you've seen tons of TikTok videos of some nut job who's 15 years old that you think is, the president of the Democrat Party, but they're not. The Democrat Party is not as like crazy as they're painted by Republicans. But I think that this is something that Democrats need to do a better job at, is not just ignoring the stupid strawman, but actively fighting back against them. Like Kamala in her last election. A lot of people were concerned about trans issues and like some of the stuff that she had said in her 2020 election about, or even 2017, I think it was, where she was talking about, trans surgeries for illegal aliens in prison. Like, that's like, actually respond to those things effectively and say like, yeah, that's not like those are not things that we're pushing for anymore. Or say like, no, we are not in favor of open borders. Like, we do want to like control the border effectively, and that we have always been the party that has done, border control better than everybody else. We just don't disparage brown people while we're doing it, and don't whine and cry saying they're eating your cats and dogs. Like, we're able to do both at the same time. So I do think that they need to do a better job at branding themselves.
I wonder very much if it's so much that they are failing at branding themselves, or if there is that larger infrastructure to push the right-wing ideology. Both sides complain about the other side as if they're the ones that are held up by the corporate, shadow government kind of, all the different influences. And it seems to me that exists a little bit more on the right. You had Steve Bannon in 2015 and before talking about, and then successfully bringing antisocial people from the internet into becoming the foot soldiers for the right-wing MAGA movement. It feels like the kind of disaffected, maybe antisocial, struggling people that they picked up over the years are the core foot soldiers, the kind of people that ended up marching on January 6th, etc., and the kind of people that keep the steam engine of right-wing sort of like conspiracy theories and all that just rolling. And I wonder to how much, because like I don't see a lot of the right wing, they're not brilliant necessarily, especially the politicians. They're not brilliant advertisers for their ideas. I wonder how much there is just an infrastructure built up around the right wing that is pushing that. Like I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist and just assume but it seems like we've gathered enough evidence to see that structure. And yeah, I don't know. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, kind of top down, like all the way from like Trump to Fox News to Tim Pool and everybody else within the right-wing alternative media sphere, like on Twitter, TikTok, everywhere. They're all pretty much in alignment on what it is that they say, what it is that they believe, what it is they push for, the conspiracy theories about, Epstein and immigrants and everything else. And that's not the case on the left. Like, we have CNN, which will generally be fairly representative of Democrats and like liberals and people voting there, but then alternative media is not. That is like alternative media on YouTube and on TikTok and on Twitter. This is very representative of like the much younger crowds on the left and the even farther left and much more progressive. When you're looking at TYT and Majority Report and Hassan Piker and all of these people, they are much farther left than the general electorate. And it's always going to be like a problem with like the big tent that currently exists on the left, where even now adding in the never Trumper ex-Republicans who are flooding in, the refugees, that I think that it's going to make things even more complicated for people who are farther left and already feel like they're being ignored a lot. I think that this is just kind of the way it's always going to exist, where we are not all brainwashed. We're not all a monolith. We're not all just getting orders from the top, being told what it is that we're supposed to believe. We're going to have a variety of beliefs and ideologies, and it's always going to be complicated for us, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I just wonder what's our solution to all of this. How do we fight back if there is some sort of infrastructure that's holding their ideology up? I've heard a lot of arguments criticizing far lefties for sort of the way the most extreme far lefties end up being the representatives in the right wing conversations about what the general left believes. And it seems like the time that we on the general left waste trying to rein them in might just be keeping us off the rails from putting forth our own message and using that to put the Republicans and the right on defense. I don't know what it looks like to get our forces all together. The things that unite the right in a lot of ways are conspiracy, non-real issues, and it's difficult for me to picture how we combat that. Do we just try and villainize the far right the same way they villainize the far left? That didn't seem to work. They seemed to win that battle. They said we're not all neo-Nazis, and they're damn right. But if we're trying to do tit for tat strategy wise, that's what that looked like, and it seems to have already failed. It seems like
I don't know that we're not doing that anyways, though. Like, it's not like we're never on offense and that Republicans are never put in a position where they should be on defense, because everybody is talking about Trump nonstop and what it is that Trump is doing, and anybody who follows him or encourages him, and how wrong this is, and how wrong the stuff with January 6th is, and calling him a fascist, and calling him, like all of these things, that they are constantly put in a position where they should be on defense. The problem is that you can't put shameless people on defense. There is no defense. They will just totally ignore all of the facts, all like any form of legitimacy. They will just totally ignore it and just keeps trucking forward with their heads down. There is nothing that can stop a bunch of people who don't live in reality. So whereas normally, yes, like Donald Trump goes and says that he's pardoning all the January 6ers. That should have been career ending for him. Saying that he's going to genocide Iran should have been career ending for him. He does like 2 impeachable things a week. Like there is no putting people on defense who are this shameless. They're like, it's an impossible task. The only reason that Democrats constantly feel like they're on defense is because they actually have scruples. So it's again just part of like actually living in reality. This is always going to kind of be the case until Republicans come back to earth.
Yeah. It's gonna be a tough thing to do to bring them back to earth. They would have to lose pretty bad in this midterm, which to me is why they're trying to win by the gerrymandering so hard. The last year and a half have been surreal.
Just to be clear, I don't think they're coming back to earth. I think that like the Donald Trump is like a midway point for something much more extreme, but something closer to like a Nick Fuentes, Andrew Wilson, like Christian nationalist sort of thing, where they're able to take the populist talking points, but now apply it to Christianity and even the non-Christian parts of the Republican Party or the Conservative Party will all do the whole, oh, well, I'm not a Christian, but I'm spiritual, or I believe in the teachings of Jesus. He was a good guy anyway. So as long as that's what we're moving towards, I'm okay with it. Or 70% of women are on OnlyFans these days, and that's decaying society. And so we got to do something. Like maybe the Christians have the answer. Like that's what'll happen, like one way or the other. But I do see that like that being the direction that we head in, and Donald Trump just kind of pushing the populist talking points and frame of mind into the Republican Party. I see that as like just making way for somebody to use that infrastructure that he set up for something more extreme down the line.
Yeah.
Have you been paying much attention to the midterm elections, Tom? The primaries, etc.?
Not as much as others, but to an extent, yeah.
There's a few that are fairly high profile right now, and one of the ones that I was going to bring up was Tallarico versus Ken Paxton. If you're familiar at all with James Tallarico, he's a progressive Democrat who is very Christian in his messaging and himself is quite religious. There is speculation that with Ken Paxton being steeped in scandals, and perhaps there's some dissatisfaction that John Cornyn, the incumbent, did not get the nod in the runoff recently, that a lot of Republicans are going to break from the Republican Party in order to support Tallarico, who is, I mean, undoubtedly a very religious guy and just so happens to have more of a progressive leaning. Does something like that give you optimism or pessimism regarding what you just talked about as far as the country moving towards a more religious bent? Maybe there's a segment of the Democrats that can take that energy away from the right.
It's possible. I don't see it being likely. I think that a lot of people on the right look at Tallarico as somebody who is just using their religion against them. They look at anybody who's going to be a Democrat or side with Democrats as people who are siding with baby killers and, you know, pro-abortion people, people who are trying to trans their kids, people who are trying to open the borders. And even if you're like, I know I live in Georgia. I live around tons of conservative people where they really don't agree with Trump on very much. They really don't like him, but they do draw the line at abortion. They do have, like, and when we talk about the old Republican Party, we're not saying people who are just agreeing with Democrats on everything, but we are talking about people who just have different values. They're not making everything up. They're not lying about every little thing. They're not like creating a whole separate world for them to live in, but they just have different values and they evaluate things differently. And even for people who still think that way and still do just have different values, a lot of them may not like anything that Trump is doing and still do draw the line at abortion because that is where they have different values. And so I think that it really is a long shot for people to side with somebody like Tallarico just because he's saying Christian things but using it to bring in immigrants.
Let me tell you, man, he is not just saying Christian things. He is testifying, man. Okay, I am an atheist that grew up a Christian, and he's just about brought the love of Christ back into my heart, man. He is a Christian slayer, man. He's got the words.
Hallelujah.
He's good. Yeah, absolutely. You should check out some of his speeches sometimes, man. He speaks
I mean, I've watched
well.
a lot of them.
He make good words.
This isn't new though. Like, literally, this is what I did for a long time when I was still a Christian and when I was still like identifying as on the right and a Republican, just not one of those. Like, this is what Destiny did for a long time. This is what like tons of people do, where they talk about the Bible, they talk about Christianity, they talk about what the Bible preaches and how antithetical this is to the current Republican Party. This has been really common for a long time, but just I think by far the majority of Christians see it as just like an external critique from anybody, even if they are
just
Christian.
As a tool
they
at best.
See it as like, well, yes, as soon as you identify with the Democratic Party, you're just kind of automatically losing any sort of credibility to them. It's like you saw the Democrat Twitter page recently where they said to Steve Miller, like, you know, you ugly fuck or something like that. And Ben Shapiro replies and is like, oh, the ever accepting Democrats, you know, some crap like that. Like, this is like the same thing, the way that we look at him, you know, or other Republicans being like, oh, you guys, I thought you were supposed to be accepting, or I thought you were supposed to care about equality, but you called us Nazis. Like, I thought you didn't use slurs. Like, it's that sort of thing where like we look at them and we're like, shut the fuck up. Like, nobody's buying this shit, dude. We don't think you're like even trying to make an argument here. I think that most Republicans are going to look at it that way with Tallarico. Now, you don't need most Republicans in Texas right now for Tallarico to win, but it just from what I've looked at and from like polling and everything, it looked like it was a really slim chance until they switched to Paxton, and now I don't know. Like, it seems like anything's possible.
I think you might be underestimating the power of Christ in Tallarico's heart, partner. You should give it a listen. I think he could at least sweep to pretty far into the into the shallow ends of the MAGA base. I think he could make it all the way across there. He's good, man. He's filled my atheistic heart with the love of Christ again. Uh, all right. You know what, Kyle? Why don't we go to another round of Straw Man, Steel Man?
Oh, I had closed the game because we were already like
Oh,
40
we were
minutes
going
in,
all the
and
way in. Okay, okay.
we seem to have transitioned all the way into discussion mode, and so I figured I was sick of my head being so small, so I ended the game of Straw Man Steel Man without giving it the ceremony, pomp, and circumstance that it really deserves. So anyway, good
I'm sick
showing
of
on
your
your.
small head too.
I was, you know what? It should be bigger. It should be bigger. So hopefully it will suffice for now being full screen. But since we're talking about midterms, and since there was something brought up about Nazis, I mean, the criticism that we're not tolerant of Nazis is a pretty shallow one. I mean, we're supporting Graham Plattner, so I feel like criticism kind of falls a little short.
Where do you lie on
Uh,
him, Tom? What do you
Yep.
think?
I mean, I see a lot of Democrats who were like liberals who were very like upset with Hassan for saying ahead of time that he wouldn't support Gavin Newsom, and that they feel like, you should kind of stick with the blue no matter who. Like, it doesn't matter who it is. If they're the Democrat on the ticket, then that's who we should be supporting. We have to stop the Republicans. We have to get as many Democrats in the House and the Senate. And then a lot of those same people are like kind of counter signaling somebody like Graham Plattner and even Mamdani at times. And so it seems a little hypocritical from a lot of people. For me, it is like, I do think that, yes, as long as they are the Democrat candidate and they are likely to vote more often with Democrats than they would with Republicans, then yeah, I think that that's going to be the better choice. And that's somebody that I'm going to be completely on board with. With Graham Plattner, I don't think that he's a Nazi. There's nothing that I've seen that says that he actually has Nazi beliefs. There are like red flags there to make you wonder if those beliefs exist, but there hasn't been anything, overt enough for me to think that that's the case. Obviously, just yesterday, there was the story that came out about his wife catching him having like sexting with like 6 other women, even some part of the campaign. It's he's got a past, and I I think that I could probably run for Congress or Senate and do a good job, but I've got a really bad past that was much worse than his, that would make it to where I would never even make it that far. But
Hey, I'd
that
vote for
doesn't
you
mean
over
that
a
I wouldn't be
Republican any
capable
day.
of doing it. Yeah. Well, it doesn't mean I wouldn't be capable of doing it. I think that, like, he might have a bad past, but like, if he's capable of doing the job, then
Man, if
that's all that really
Trump's
matters at the end of
president,
the day.
man, it seems like you can get away with it as long as you got the Riz in the pocket, As long as you can just
Yep.
show up and look good.
Yeah, well, I mean, for what it's worth, too, his wife did come out and say that she felt like the media focusing on his past exploits was gravitating towards a salacious news cycle that really gets far and away from the substance of the issue, which is the policies for which he stands. Which I thought that was a pretty base take from his wife. They seem to, I don't know,
Yep.
they if whether they work things out or not, at least it was good to see her come out and say, listen, this is not what we're supposed to be talking about when it comes to a political election. And I agree, especially, given what is now precedented in our space, it seems like an odd thing to cherry pick as a criticism, given the extramarital escapades of many a Republican politician at this point.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild what
Yep.
people are getting away with.
I agree with that thought process to an extent. That like some of the drama doesn't really matter all that much. I do think that like I do like the norms and the like professionalism to be within politics. I didn't like man, I'm blanking on his name. The guy who recently like had a stroke and became a
Fetterman.
fucking
Oh yeah, Fetterman.
yes, Fetterman. Yeah. Like I didn't like his whole like going in with basketball shorts and hoodies and stuff like that. I do like a lot of like the norms around playing the part, looking the part, acting the part. And I don't want Democrats to be the ones to drive us further into whatever culture it is that Trump is building, where you don't act the part, you don't talk the way that you're supposed to, you don't say the right things. Like I don't want us to be the ones pushing farther in that direction. And I do think that people like Tallarico are possibly a little bit more of that sort of temperament that I'm not a big fan of. But having one or two on the Democrat side is not going to be all that bad, as literally the entire Republican Party right now. So
Well, it's also, a question of to what degree do we harken back to those old times of buttoned up politicians? It does seem to be that most politicians have figured out that people these days like a little bit of swearing. There's some tasteful profanity in many a politician's speeches these days, and I'm sure it's totally off the cuff and not planned or focus grouped at all. I'm sure it's just
totally,
yep,
yes,
absolutely, yeah. We know
very
how.
generous. Yes.
But it is kind of nice. It's a little bit refreshing when people just come out and say the thing that you're feeling. I can relate to enjoying that catharsis when you see a politician say something with the emotive quality with which you would say it in real life. So I don't know that we should abandon that entirely. I don't know that we should make an effort to go all the way back to the way things were. There is an appetite for a quote unquote authenticity that seems to be a relatively new thing for our political landscape. To what degree do you think we should hold on to that or abandon it?
I think that there has to be a mixture of both. Like I think somebody like Gavin Newsom, he's able to give the like politically correct answer and give the politician answer while not coming off like a robot like Kamala Harris did. I think Kamala Harris came off extremely robotic, extremely planned, extremely focus grouped, just very, very scripted. And yeah, people really didn't like her because of that. I mean, it is kind of like a sad reality that we vote for politicians based on how likable they are and how much like we want to sit and have a beer with them. It's kind of fucking annoying, but it is a sad reality that we have to acknowledge and play into to some extent. But I think somebody like Gavin Newsom, even Tallarico, these are people who I think are able to give political answers and give good answers and buttoned up answers and look the part while, being very presidential or whatever, while also, being
Human.
looking genuine and seeming very human. Yeah.
I will say, say what you want about his policies. I think that as far as communicating goes, the person that I've seen who best balances this is Mamdani. Every time that I've seen him speak, he's very on message. He's very good about code switching between when he's like quote unquote a real person versus when he's giving the political answer. And the political answers that he gives, not only are they very like tight and concise and to the point, but he also delivers it in a way that he's almost winking to his more like authenticity brained voter base, where it's like, yep, I'm doing the thing right now. I've got to be performative in this particular moment. So we all understand that
he's all right, but Hillary Clinton literally had hot sauce, dude.
She did.
We've joked about this one before, but apparently she actually is like a hot sauce fan. Apparently it wasn't planted, but I too, when I saw that, I saw the death of the human future. I was like, it was literally that moment where I was like, fucking Trump might win this thing. Because, not because he has anything worth listening to at all, but because he's not going on like random talk shows and be like, I'm a real person, I have the hot sauce. Oh God, yeah.
Hey, she may not have won the White House, but she won some invites to the barbecue. Okay,
yeah, sure, yeah. for having
you know,
Frank's Red Hot. Who knows where to get that stuff? You know, she's got an in on the Frank's Red Hot.
That's
Jesus, that's what we really need.
Yep.
Oh God, the worst hot sauce too.
My-
Like Jesus.
My sisters, my sisters like crystals, and they literally had crystals like keychains that were real, like literal like hot sauce in the thing on their keychains. My brother liked red hot. I like Texas Pete a little bit more, but there's another one, I forget the name of it. It's like a Spanish looking one with
Tapatio?
like a wood top on it.
Ooh.
Maybe
Cholula?
Maybe that's it. Cholula. That's it. Yes. Yes. Yeah. I like Cholula, but I like different ones depending on what I'm eating at the time. I think anybody who's just got one hot sauce, they're not doing it right.
Yeah.
Yeah. My go-to for a sauce is sriracha, but I'm not picky about my hot sauce. If there's hot sauce on the table, I'll dump it if it's the right time for it.
It's got a good blend of
sriracha, eh?
Sriracha.
That's what.
Sriracha.
That's a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, Kyle, I'd vote
Yeah.
for you in the 2016 election, Kyle.
Based on my hot sauce preferences.
Especially your pronunciation.
Did I not
That's
pronounce it right?
At least Hillary didn't say sriracha. Yeah.
Well, maybe I need to
get a little sriracha. Get in there with it.
Is that
Kyle.
how you say it though?
I don't
think
know.
that they. I
I
don't
don't
think
know.
they say it with a Spanish accent in Asia.
It looks like
That's
it
probably
ought to
not
be.
how they do it. Well.
All right, Tom. Now you got to give it your best shot. You got to call out Kyle. Oh, we need to hear your cred.
I mean, I just say sriracha.
Okay, yeah, you skip the first star.
sriracha.
All right. See, that's even. I will skip looking up the proper pronunciation of sriracha for now. We'll have to leave that to the audience to decide for themselves how best to pronounce that. Perhaps in my own independent research, I'll practice my pronunciation so that I can say it properly on the next show, where I'm sure it will.
We're getting to the deep issues here, as we always do.
Yes, I will be keeping a close eye on that.
I'm going to throw out a hot sauce for you to try. It's called Hidden Aardvark. I'm a fan. It's got some good garlic flavor in there. We've got a lot of good ones. That's the secret sauce. How do we get this back on track?
I'll tell you something.
Hot sauces for a while?
Hot sauce is one of the
hot sauce for the rest of.
Yeah,
we could.
Guys.
You guys want to just watch party some Hot Wings episodes? The Conan O'Brien episode was fantastic. Unironically, everyone should watch that after the show. The Conan O'Brien Hot Wings episode. It was good.
You know, it would have probably gone over a lot better if Hillary Clinton had brought up her hot sauce proclivities on that
Hot Wing.
show.
That would be great.
And
although if she brought if she's like, I'm on the Hot Wing show, here's Frank's Red Hot, I would still vote Trump. I'd go back in time to vote Trump over that shit.
But, you know, there's lots of reasons to prioritize somebody for becoming the president of the United States. And hot sauce preferences might be one of them. And I wonder if that category will come up as we examine some potential presidential candidates in a game that we like to call Podcaster, Prisoner, President.
Podcaster, Prisoner, Resident.
See, now that's a goddamn transition. All right. So, this is a game that is very similar to the colloquial game Fuck, Marry, Kill. We are going to be picking between three different figures in the U.S. political landscape. One of them is going to be elected to be our U.S. president. They're going to have all of the restraints and authority that comes with that. There is going to be another person we assign as podcaster. They get to say their opinions on the internet, but they don't have any real authoritative power. And then there's going to be the third person who is relegated to rotting in prison where their ideology can reach nobody. Now, to be clear, we're not actually advocating for anybody to go to prison unless we do at a later time in which we specify. So
we might.
There's a lot of good people that deserve to go to prison in this game that we've selected. Maybe not today. I forget.
We've sentenced a few.
I don't know who's on there yet, so I very much might.
I think there might be some prison deservers here on this list. So I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, why don't we get rid of these question mark boxes as I work to figure out if I have the correct one loaded here. OBS doesn't tell me if I've got all these podcaster prisoner president games loaded up and it doesn't say which one I'm on. So we'll just see if this works. The first window opens up to reveal Pam Bondi, the recently ousted Attorney General of the Trump administration.
That's a jail
We've
deserver.
also got Tulsi Gabbard, who recently resigned
Double
from her
jail
position in the
deserver.
cabinet.
10,000
And
years darkness jail deserver.
And finally, we've got Christy Nome, the proud dog murderer who was ousted from ICE. I believe she was the first to go. So, Tom, between these three folks here that we've got, who would you make the podcaster? Who would you make the prisoner? And who would you make the president? And I'm really curious which of those categories you're going to maximize for.
Good question.
Well, let's see. This is definitely a hard one. I think I would have to go with Pam Bondi for prison.
Pam
I
Bondi
would
to
go
prison.
Tulsi Gabbard. She's not bad looking, and she's you know, fairly
Count for something.
she could do podcasting, so that's where I'd put her. And then Christy Nome would have the first transgender first lady, so I would have her as president.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, that's as good of a criteria as any. James, what do you think about this lineup? Does that resonate with how you would do things?
Gosh, I feel like
representation is important.
I would go Bondi president because I feel like she's, if you multiply how incompetent and how much less egotistical, even though all these people, granted, huge egos, if you multiply those two together, then it becomes less toxic than the others. If it, like, how incompetent she is multiplied by how much less of a burning desire for power and importance they have. They just need someone to call them, a good girl every once in a while and tell her she's a very important special lady as president, and then, we might actually be able to manipulate her into doing the right thing. These other two, I think they want the power and glory too much, personally.
Well, as far as Christy and Tulsi goes, would you swap them around?
Tulsi's
as well?
too dangerous. Yeah. We're putting her straight to jail. Terrible lady.
Well,
and that means that we would end up having to listen to the Christy Nome podcast, which, regrettable, but you got to do what you got to do.
Well, either way, as Tom said, this is a tough nut to crack exactly how we would sort these three ladies. But perhaps
I mean, imagine though, like her husband with the big balloon boobs walking around as the first lady, like that.
Oh my God, the first man lady.
That does speak to my liberal sensibilities. It would be nice to have some representation of different lifestyles in the White House, and maybe Christy Nome is our unfortunately best bet to make that happen. Could break a few glass ceilings there in one clean sweep. Doesn't that sound nice, James?
Yep.
Oh yeah, I like it.
Beautiful. Well, we've got that sorted for now. Why don't we go to another round here, where we will. Let's see. Is it going to? No, that's not the right window. Let's.
You guys are so good at getting screen grabs of people. It's absolutely amazing.
Actually, true. I am delighted every time we load one of these up.
I watched for a good long while, Tom. You have a very disciplined upper face. I was trying to find one that was most compromising. You gave me two good ones here. I think the one on my on the left of the screen was you in mid-song, if I remember correctly. So, but anyway, we're done with this, so we don't need that.
I was singing?
Yeah, I think you actually gave us a song. Yeah, for just a brief moment.
But it was beautiful.
Interesting.
It seemed off the cuff. So you gave us an off the cuff performance as a song that I didn't recognize, but I appreciated it all the same. All right. So we've got a fresh round queued up of three folks who we're going to have to sort. Let's see. Who do we have in the first box? Well, that's clearly not the right window then. Let's find the one that is correct. How about this one? Please do the thing that I want. I wish that there was a way to better see whether this is the correct one in the... Oh boy. See, I got all these windows open now. Someday, I will get this system so well sorted
Honestly, I
that
think
it will
this
be
is
completely seamless.
since you switched over to the graphics. I think this is the most struggle you've had. So I think you've done pretty great so far.
Well,
Except
in
for right
Podcaster
now,
Pris-
you're doing a bad job.
Well, with Podcaster Prisoner President, I have to load all of them up at the same time and just have them ready to go.
And
But
just
I
hope.
don't know which one OBS is going to load at a given time when I move from one to the other.
Oh
So I
yeah,
just
because
have
it
to
just
go through
shows
them
like
all.
a long file name, and you're like, eh.
Right. Yep. So I think we've eliminated it, that it must be. This would be our first question box to reveal,
Beautiful.
which shows us a one J.D. Vance, who is currently the Vice President of the United States. We're going to then reveal if it's J.D. Vance, it must also be Marco Rubio. And then the last box, of course, is going to reveal Tucker Carlson. These are the three, according to the odds makers, most likely Republican nominees of 2028. Tom, who of these three gentlemen would you like to be our president?
Geesh, it's really hard because I'm thinking Tucker Carlson and JD Vance are two that are just the most likely to be liberal at some point, the amount that they change their ideologies and their opinions on things. But I'm gonna go, man, that is rough. I guess we'll do JD Vance for prison.
J.D. Vance going to prison.
Yeah. And Tucker Carlson for podcaster, Marco Rubio for president.
Tucker gets to keep his podcast, and we're putting Marco in the presidential seat.
Yeah,
Well,
Tucker gets to keep his job.
There is something to be said for harm reduction when it comes to Tucker. I think that he's probably responsible for a fair amount of social harm, but it is at the very least limited if he's relegated to what is now, I believe, a less viewed podcast than he had before. Whenever he was on Fox, he's just streaming on X these days. Yeah.
He has like his own channel on X, but he is like doing an actual podcast. Like if you guys know what like podcasts going out to Spotify and all the podcast platforms, and generally they'll count your YouTube numbers as well. He's still one of the top 3 podcasts in the world. It's like Ben Shapiro, him, and Candace Owens. So they are, as far as right-wing podcasts go, they are.
I've been hearing some accusations lately
2.
against him and Ben Shapiro that there's a lot of botting going on, and that perhaps even, at least in Ben Shapiro's position, he's been astroturfed to a huge degree from even early on. And
you don't say.
Just the fact that he gets his face out there was enough over time to make him one of the arch conservative social media podcasters, etc.
I don't think that's likely. I do think that their network, Daily Wire, actually does enough flooding from like one person to the other to where if you're watching any of these people, you get like heavily recommended somebody like Ben Shapiro, and so and
just algorithmically they feed
of the
into
Daily
each other.
Wire people. Yeah, and of the Daily Wire people, he definitely is like the best of the bunch. So he's I don't find it hard to believe, especially like looking at the conservative landscape when you look at people like Benny Johnson as one of the top podcasters right now, and Candace Owens. There's just not a whole lot of like brains over there. There's not people who can make arguments even sound good most of the time. He's somebody who's actually capable of taking really stupid fucking arguments and at least making them sound like halfway intellectual in the way that he makes the case.
Yeah.
So
even respectable to an
better.
Unscrupulous observer. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So he is definitely, I mean, when I was a conservative, he was the guy that I watched the most. Like he was the guy who I wanted to listen to. The main thing is that he just leaves out like the majority of information that would drastically change all of the facts that he's sharing. But as long as you don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain, you don't have to recognize anything.
You mean you weren't
anything but what he's
convinced
telling you to.
you weren't convinced that the bread in Moscow is so much better than what we've got?
Oh my God, what was that?
Wasn't
That
that
was
Tucker Carlson?
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I must have had a mental slip. Yes, that was Carlson. Yes.
That was a brilliant moment. That was truly a darkest timeline moment where you're just like, how is this even happening? How is he trying to pretend that like a quarter machine to turn your grocery cart into is like revolutionary and proof of Russia's dominance over the American
We had
empire?
that. We had that in New
Jesus.
York.
Yeah.
I'm from New York City. We had
Yeah.
those all over the place.
Probably
like
back to the
everybody,
freaking
the homeless people are
70s
always
or
stealing the
whatever.
buggies.
Jesus.
Yes, and it's not even like a show of like civility or anything like that. It's actually the opposite.
It's the
It says,
opposite.
like, hey, there's a lot of thieves around
Yeah.
here. There's a lot of fucking people who are stealing our shit. So we had to
Yeah.
come up with some sort of way to stop people from stealing our buggies all the time. But I do think Marco Rubio is probably, the lesser of all the evils up there. He is somebody who's not going to be super pro-Russia. He is pro-Ukraine and was like very outspoken in favor of them until Trump smacked him around and made him stop doing that. But he, even when it came to the Iran stuff, like he's definitely better at talking about Iran and like explaining some of the issues that are going on there between like, him, Trump, and I'm blanking on the colonel of war or whatever they're calling him these days.
Oh, Hegseth?
Yeah, Hegseth, between Trump, Hegseth, and Rubio. Rubio definitely is the better one at explaining what's going on in the war. And yeah, between the three of them, I do think that he's at least going to wear a lot less makeup than JD Vance. So
I mean, for
he
what
won't be
that's worth,
transing our children anytime soon.
that is apparently a concern of a lot of people. I will say that even some of the most leftmost people that I know would agree that Marco Rubio at least seems like he's an adult who is like treating it like a job, as opposed to other folks in the administration who, hard to say exactly how they think of it. I mean, between Linda McMahon, I doubt she shows up to work. I mean, well, we know that Tulsi's out of a
They
job
all treat it
right
like
now,
a social media influencer job.
Yep, and that's why you see them all together at the UFC events. Which, hey, looking forward to next weekend. I'm sure it's going to be so cool.
So cool.
Can't wait to watch Trump fall asleep while an American gets his ass knocked out in the main event. Anyway. So
is there going to be a foreigner that beats an American?
It is widely speculated that
Brilliant.
the current champion Ilia Topuria of Georgia, by way of Spain, is going to be knocking out American veteran Justin Gaethje in the first round, as he has done for his previous two opponents, both of whom were like legendary, highly regarded fighters.
So wait,
yes.
We have an immigrant
You guys hear
taking an
about
American's
the-
job, and they're gonna Trump's
Basically.
all over
Yeah.
that. Love it.
What was that, Tom?
Did you guys hear about the weight requirements for the event?
Yeah, no fatties allowed if you're in the military. You cannot show up to the event unless
classy.
you achieve a certain amount of fitness, one that surely, of course, the administration leads by example in that regard.
The commander-in-chief should probably, maybe maybe look at the hypocrisy of his rulings there, but whatever, no big deal.
Well, it's not something he's accustomed to looking at. Why start now? James, do you feel like this lineup more or less agrees with your sentiments?
No, I say you definitely throw Tucker in jail. He's way too dangerous.
But he apologized, though. He said sorry on air for supporting Trump. That doesn't count for anything.
He did.
Wow, brave, too brave.
Well,
incredibly brave. No, that guy's
sorry,
a psycho.
And he's against Israel, so he's pretty much a good guy now.
Wow. Oh,
That's
okay.
right.
You know what? Now that you bring that up,
why.
Yep.
Never mind why he's against Israel, but yes, he is
Yeah.
against Israel, and that of course that counts for
Yep.
something.
maybe
Well,
everything
so-
in many people's eyes.
I mean, it makes him better than Kamala Harris, at least. you
Yeah.
know?
And Genocide Joe, the bastard.
Wait a minute. So
Yeah.
does that mean that you're going to be putting JD Vance? Do we have to listen to a shitty JD Vance podcast?
No, that's the great thing about it. Nobody's gonna fucking listen, so it nullifies everyone but the president, which you can't really. You pick the best you got here with frickin' Rubio. It is what it is.
Very well. Yeah, I mean,
That's the game. Is suffering, suffering and memes.
Suffering and memes, indeed. Well, I guess whether JD gets the podcast mic or the prison bars, at the very least, we can be assured that Marco Rubio is a relatively steady hand. Affiliations with the Trump administration
He's a good boy.
aside. So let's move on to the next round that we've got. And I'll interrupt the game to say real quick, if you're watching and you're enjoying what you see, this is the Marketplace of Ideas. Be sure to jump over from Tom's stream real quick before you head back. Give us a like and subscribe. Help us stand out in the algo. And we've also got a Discord server. And if you would like to join our chat here and call in, that will be available to you. We have a waiting room that you can join. And we've also got a fake market system that we like to tout on our Discord server. Let me just show you that real quick, because we have a special coin in here for our special guest that we introduced last week. Come on now, give me the thing that I want. Oh, you bastard. Here we go. Right.
Got this. I believe in you, Kyle.
I don't know if I do believe in myself. I wish I had like a giant, massive like producer screens that I could look at, so I wasn't have to like navigating from in front of a sex worker light or whatever it is this thing is properly called. I'm not really sure, but either way, yes, our fake.
You mean a ring light?
Well, I mean that's that's
sex worker light for short.
Well, I figure people know what I mean at least.
I didn't know what you meant. I had to think about it.
Well, you figured it out, though. I mean, it only took a couple seconds. So look at this. Tom, you have ascended somewhat amongst the creator stocks here in the Marketplace of Ideas. You are sitting above Talking Shit and just below Soy Pill,
who was, before that, one of our leaders. So you could be killing it in the marketplace very soon.
You are only a few percentage points away from taking one of the top 3 spots. Of course, non-fawn, I expect that slim little lead he's got is by his design. That guy is an econ nerd, and he's probably got a few people in here that are doing strategic trades at given times to make sure that he maintains the top spot in the market.
Damn nerd.
I suspect that somebody will oust him. Anyway, if you want to support Tom or any of the other creators or ideologies that we have here, you can join our Discord server and spend our fake currency that we call Grift Coin to show your support for what you believe in. Now, with that out of the way, as we wait for any potential callers to join the waiting room, let's articulate that properly, and let's head back to our next round of Podcaster Prisoner President, where we have one of 2 potential rounds that I'm going to figure out, preferably sooner than later, which is the correct one to operate. Let's see here. Boom. Right, got it on the first try. Brilliant. So we've got a Mr. Gavin Newsom. He's come up before in this episode. We've also got Kamala Harris, as has she. Now, someone I don't know that we've mentioned yet, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. These are the 3 top Democratic nominee, prospective nominees, that is, according to the odds makers. Tom, how do we sort these 3 Democrats?
I'm gonna give Gavin the president.
Okay.
And I feel like same logic as the other ones. AOC, she's the prettiest, so we're gonna give her podcaster. Hey. And then Kamala Harris, because she's a genocidal maniac, she has to go to
prison. So. Well said. Yeah, we know how much she's basically the same as Donald Trump when it comes to her stance on Palestine.
Almost the exact same, yeah.
Yeah.
Well put.
I mean, there's no evidence that she would have been any different. So
nope, none whatsoever. She didn't say anything. She didn't express anything. She didn't act differently. She basically said the exact same thing.
She didn't get a ceasefire.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. What kind of vice president doesn't get a ceasefire?
Well, I can imagine her doing what Trump's doing right now, and isn't that pretty much the same thing?
That's basically just as good. We all know that you have a terrible imagination, James, so I could only expect that you're coming to that conclusion because of a well-reasoned line of logic instead of just brain rot gobbledygook.
Yep. Yeah, obviously.
My girlfriend says I have to stop giving hot as a reason for where I'm putting people.
All right,
But
well,
I do,
yeah,
if I'm gonna
We
watch
built
a
this game
podcast,
so it wasn't
I do
about
want them
that.
to at least be good looking. So
Well, I mean,
just
if
saying.
nothing, well, I mean, let's say, because sometimes you listen to a podcast. I mean, I don't know about you personally, but one could just listen to a podcast, and maybe AOC is a nice speaker. Maybe somebody would enjoy
She
hearing
does have a
her.
lovely
Nah, she's a
voice.
woman. She's got a nagging voice.
Yeah,
That's
people
not
don't like
the
that. People
way.
don't like that. Well, I mean, two of them are women, and we have to make the man president. So that's what it is.
That's what I'm saying. You don't have much of a choice here.
Yep. So you
Yeah.
just take the less screeching woman and God, this.
You did again do a really good job at finding the worst picture of Kamala Harris, though. That was that seems intentional.
thought,
It seems racist. I'm not gonna lie.
You think that I picked a racist picture of Kamala? I thought it was an okay picture, all things considered. I tried to make. Listen, as
This is one of the
as
more
a host of
serious
the
rounds.
show-
Yeah.
As a host of the show, I feel
I'm pretty
like
sure
it's my
you found a
job.
meme of. I'm pretty sure you found a meme of AOC. I don't think her teeth are that big, dude. I don't think there's the.
I don't
her
know.
teeth
She's
are
got-
not that big.
She's got some impressive chompers, and quite frankly, you say that like it's a bad thing. I like her big teeth. I think that's one of her selling points. I know.
That's why I'm voting for her in the next election. I'm writing her in. Big teeth.
Exactly. No, as a
BOT.
host of the show, I feel the responsibility to maintain a neutral position, but as a lefty, I'm like, I got to find the prettiest pictures of these people as I possibly can to show my support for the 2028 rather, nominee, whoever they may be. James, how does this align with your sentiments?
I mean, you could switch Gavin and AOC, but I'm okay in either direction there. Mainly because I see Gavin working within the establishment better to get things done, and I think there's a lot of lefties that are very cynical about Gavin Newsom. I couldn't tell you if he's in it for the power to actually make good change for people, but I think if he is just in it for his own ego, then he's still going to get the things done, and I think he might be more capable of that than AOC, who like the center and center right would flee from supporting anything she did that was even beyond milk toast. So, if I could give each one of these people, a super majority of voting and supporters, then I might go AOC. But man, even then, I'm too much of an anti-accelerationist where I feel like that would alienate people too much.
Well, let me throw this at you.
Yeah.
There's all these thoughts about, if America ever gets a woman president, she's going to be super conservative. But I raise you this: what if the first American president was a certified baddie? Like, wouldn't that also kind of make a certain amount of sense?
That's
in
all we
America?
need. Yeah, absolutely. The first baddie president. Well put.
All
Well
right.
put. That'll save
Well-
democracy right there.
Well, in case it doesn't, we'll perhaps stick with Gavin Newsom just to be safe as our presidential nominee.
Is he not a baddie in his own right?
I suppose he is, a bit of an older fella, but I mean, you can't deny that he's got some good face structure to him, and props to him. And you know what? For what it's worth, Kamala's a pretty nice looking lady too.
Sure.
So as far as the attractiveness goes, we really can't go wrong. But perhaps we'll be satisfied with AOC having a podcast, Gavin getting to be
I mean,
president.
it's time to bring Sarah Palin back. You know what I mean?
Maybe so. Maybe next time we'll have to do an AOC v Sarah Palin match off to see who would truly claim that spot in the hearts and minds of the marketplace of
I mean,
ideas.
if you really want to grab my attention, the best way to do it is to just have like a who's the hottest politicians and just go from because that's pretty much how I'm grading everything anyways. So.
Well, fair enough. Listen, there is
That's
no
the real
wrong way to grade
accelerationism
here.
right there. Just
Mhm.
just the mog for presidency.
Well, I wonder who
Yeah.
of our final trio you will find most attractive here as we go to our final round. And I see we've got one person in the waiting room ready to call in. But before we get to you, Black Widow, let's see who we've got in the first mystery box as we unveil a one Cash Patel enjoying himself a beer
Oh,
with
boy.
the U.S. hockey team. And then we've got here Pete Hegseth, he's come up today and he's enjoying himself a refreshing
Also
beverage as
enjoying
well.
some alcohol.
Indeed. And then not drinking alcohol, but drinking something, we have RFK enjoying some raw milk. We have the three drinkerest drinkers of the Trump administration. I actually don't know. There might be somebody who's more of an alcoholic that would qualify for this, but I just thought RFK with the raw milk. We have to throw him in there. Tom, how do we sort these gentlemen?
Just all of them in jail.
I don't think
Jesus.
any of them are hot. Yeah.
All right, well, let's go. We got that out of the way. It's good. Yeah, we'll have to use different metrics to determine who goes where.
All right. I mean, Ash Patel definitely has to go to prison. That's
Okay.
pretty obvious. He's got to go to prison. I feel like there's no questions about that. Pete Hegseth, he used to do a show, so we'll give him podcaster and continue the Kennedy legacy with RFK.
Oh boy, yes, and what pride he brings to the name, I'm sure. Yeah, James, what do you think about this lineup? How have we sorted them as far as you're concerned?
I'd rather drink raw milk than answer. God.
Yeah.
Hegseth for jail. He's committing war crimes. Whoa. Okay, no.
Yeah.
We got to start
Okay.
by maximizing for president. That's how I do this. You got to maximize. Patel for president.
Patel for president.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
instead of prison.
Much like Bondi, I think the mix of they're incompetent and they have the least horrifying ego out of the three of them. Like, just give him some beers and some hockey teams to party with and to tell him he's a good boy, and you might have the right person manipulating him into getting us some positive benefits for the American people. Who knows? Who knows?
Well, and he's not spilling either, too, which was more than
Hey, you know what?
Pete.
Yeah, he knows how to throw back a beer. He's for real about it. If out of the three of
That's
these
one of the
people,
things we care about, right?
he's the person you would want to have a beer with out of these three.
Yeah, I don't want to fucking drink with Pete Hegseth. He's gonna get way too wild with it. And Robert Kennedy, you gotta put blue dye in it. It's gonna make it better. I just don't want to deal with either of those people. So that makes sense. As far as the have a beer with candidate, Kash Patel is the clear winner.
Yeah, and the least corrosive to democracy, because that's not his goal. Whereas he's just there to be along for the ride and party. If you get him distracted, you might actually get something done while he's, shit-faced down in the gutter somewhere. And then
if you guys are ever driving through rural areas, though, RFK would make sure that there's not a lot of roadkill around anymore.
That's a good point. That's a good point. He would see to the the animal carcasses having a swift use case as far as he's concerned. There's a way to appropriate those dead bodies in a way that's more productive than we've been doing. Do you think that's enough to change your mind, James?
I think the dead baby bear thing is maybe one of the funniest things that's ever happened in politics. It's one of 6 million things that have happened over the last 10 years where you're like, this would never happen in the real world because things matter in the real world. Politics matter. It's important.
Brain worms, yeah.
We can't have a guy who claims in court that his brain worms make him too incompetent to pay his wife alimony, and then that person runs for president. We can't live in that world, and I'm sick of living in the weirdest timeline. The weirdest, shitty timeline.
Maybe it's not enough for him to be president, but do you think that that's objectively funny enough to hear about it on a podcast?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. You know what? That's the upside to all of this. It's great for podcasters and comedians. They got a lot of fucking material,
Well, yeah. Well, like I said, silver linings.
That's why we shouldn't listen to podcasters and comedians about politics, because they have a perverse incentive. They're corrupt. They want
Indeed.
wacky shit to happen, the bastards.
Yep.
As we all sit here talking about politics.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
I'm against this show. I think it's a
listen,
terrible idea.
I think that you should listen to this show. I don't think that you should let anything that we say on this show shape your opinions or beliefs. This is
the Joe Rogan tactic. Okay.
Yeah.
exactly. See,
don't listen to
I'm just
me.
an idiot on the internet. Yeah, I'm not
Just
gonna-
pay me hundreds of millions of dollars and I'll have politicians on. Don't listen to me. Definitely don't listen to me though.
Listen, you pay me that much. You pay me half that much. I'll take my pants
A
off
tenth.
on air. Listen, I'm not saying that I'm.
A guy
I'm
did on the last episode of
Did
Joe
you
Rogan.
really? Oh, did he
Joe-
really?
No,
I was-
a guy took his pants off. Yep.
Oh, well, that's wonderful. I'm
Newsworthy.
glad to see that they're still breaking barriers on that show.
I know where I'm
Uh,
going after this show's over. I'm going to go watch the
well-
No Pants Joe Rogan experience.
Absolutely, who could miss that?
Tom, were you ever a fan of Joe Rogan, like 10 years ago, etc., back before he became, folded into the insanity? Because I've been watching him. I was watching him
during,
15 years ago. Yeah, in the early Joe Rogan experience.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, my brother was into his
yeah.
podcast in like 2012 when it barely had just started. I loved it.
Well, this was like Fleshlight era, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like 80% of the episodes
I
were
didn't
just
watch 'em
about
back then.
mescaline and aliens, and it was great. And it was great because it was like your stoner older brother. You were hanging out with him and hearing all the weird shit he read on the internet, and you're like, wow, that's fucking crazy. And then you'd move on with your day. But now that's the guy that's interviewing the next president of the United States, and
making him win and helping him win. That's it's funny how the world works. Things. Life's so mysterious sometimes, isn't it? All right. Well, what a
No, I watched him during what was it called? The intellectual dark web.
sure.
period.
Oh
Sure.
yeah.
I liked all of that. Yeah, that was my era of.
Did you have a
of
favorite?
Joe Rogan?
Did you have a
Favorite
favorite
guest?
member of the
Ben
of
Shapiro.
The internet?
Mm.
Ben Shapiro was your fave?
the easy win. Yeah.
Sure. I was fond of Sam Harris. I felt like
I was about to say you would like Sam Harris. Yeah.
he's probably the closest to what I actually think and believe. I don't agree with everything that he says. I do think that he is I can't tell if I haven't watched his content in forever, so I can't actually say what I think about him. At the time, I felt like he was maybe a little overly concerned about things like Islam in particular, which is something that I think that there's criticisms to be made of every religion. I think that holding Islam holistically below other religions is a mistake, at least insofar as we perceive it in our society. Although I do think that he was taking more of a global view on that. I don't know. Either way, he's the one who also said that Trump's a piece of shit and nobody should vote for him. So, in that regard, I feel well vindicated.
Yeah.
As far as my Sam Harris.
Well, and he cut ties with like the IDW and said like
They're
he
cringe.
didn't want any part of it because they were people like Ben Shapiro and Jordan Peterson were a bit too supportive of Donald Trump. But even like after Kamala lost, he actually sat there and said that she lost because of her support for trans people, that she that just recently
A lot of
he
people
had like a
believe
whole
that.
episode about like Mom Donnie being like an extreme Muslim person, and like it just he says sometimes he is so enlightening and intellectual and can convey like thoughts in such a good way that I sit there thinking like I really really like this guy. And then other times he just has such dog shit fucking opinions that have not been thought through at all, and it seems to be the ones that he's like most ardent, like the ones that he's such an ardent believer in that he's most like staunch on are the dumbest ones. Like he's very dogmatic in some areas.
Yeah, I forgot that I had watched that segment about Mamdani. That was particularly dog shit. I mean, say what you want about Mamdani's policies. The idea that he's an extremist Muslim is absolute insane dog shit. So yeah, suffice to say, he doesn't get it right all the time. But of those characters, I think that
Because he's a
probably
Jew.
That's the other thing. I didn't want to say it out loud.
Not
but,
supposed to. Not supposed to.
You're not
but,
supposed to.
But now we have.
Pat's out the bag, guys.
Yep,
He's
makes
a
us
Jew.
heroes. Now that we've said it, we're heroes.
Well, with that said, what a triumphant
Standing up to
note
the
to
Zog.
end on with this game of podcaster prisoner president, where we have most certainly solved the issue of who we are going to be voting for should any of these trios find their way into the presidential race. And with that, I'll re-enlarge my head, and if it's all the
Does that
same
feel
to
better?
you, gentlemen. It feels so much better. I'm not quite so compressed anymore. I feel like I can think a little bit clearer. And I see that we have Black Widow in the waiting room. Black Widow is, of course, a member of our donor class here on the Marketplace of Ideas. Black Widow has been kind enough to give us a Patreon subscription to help support the channel, so we greatly appreciate that. And because of that, we are going to bring her in the call before anybody else. And that's not just because she's the only person in the waiting room, mind you. That's because she's a member of the donor class.
Yeah.
If there were other people here, Black Widow would be in first, just so you're aware. But without further ado, I bring in Black Widow.
Hey, welcome,
Black Widow.
welcome.
Welcome to the Marketplace of Ideas. It's been a few episodes since you've been on. How are you doing?
Appreciate that. And because of that,
Oh, we can hear you. We can hear us coming through the
There you
speaker
go.
there
I
a little
turned
bit.
it down. I turned it off. I turned it off.
Hey,
Beautiful.
welcome to the Marketplace of Ideas. How you doing?
Thank you. I forgot why I joined the waiting room.
You forgot why you joined the waiting room. Well, presumably it was to call into the show, yeah?
Oh, yeah. I had something
right.
to say. I've been
And you
waiting a while. And basically, I just want the jerry beads so that I can give them to Tom.
What's that?
You doing what?
The Griff coin.
Anal beads.
Oh, they're.
Hang on. I don't suspect that. I don't suspect that's what Black Widow just said.
They said they're just calling in so that they can buy your stock at the end of it after getting awarded grift coin for calling in.
Yes, with our callers, we do, of course, have a habit of awarding a certain amount of grift coin to our callers based on how well our guests enjoy the call. And it seems as though Black Widow is just preempting this by saying, listen, I've got nothing to contribute to the conversation whatsoever, but
Give me some money.
I would like some free fake money to inflate Tom Foolery's stock. Is that my understanding, Black Widow?
That's exactly right.
All right. Well,
Brilliant.
Do it, guys. Do it. Do it.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Although I did take a little bit of offense to the screeching women, when you
I can't
named
believe you guys said that. That was fucked up.
Gavin Newsom president.
I mean, let's not. I don't want to say that all women screech, but you gotta be honest.
I was
women who do
offended as
screech,
well, by the way.
Did you offend? Did you offend yourself when you said that? I forget. Did you?
I'm pretty
espouse
sure
that
you were the
That
one
was
who
me.
said
I'll
that.
take
That was
that.
you,
That was.
Hang on, we've got blame
sure.
being pointed in every direction. A full-on Mexican standoff of the blame game here in the Marketplace of Ideas, and I won't stand for it. James took responsibility, and I will be satisfied with that personally.
I at least know that whatever I saw, it was definitely in
commies.
his camera. It might have been in the reflection of his glasses, but I did see it being said on his camera.
I'm a terrible person, and I'm sorry. But I will not repent or change. I will not actually change. I am sorry, but I will not change. I will still be sexist and awful.
Listen, this is I don't think we can
communist.
tolerate somebody
And a communist
calling
and
into
a
the show.
damn dirty communist. There's nothing redeeming about me.
Let's not forget that. We'll definitely make a point to mention that whenever we can. But I don't know that I'm willing to just let somebody call into the show and not have anything to say. So, Black Widow, if it's all right with you, I'm going to put you on the spot. Have you been paying attention to the election season that's ramping up these days?
Well, I just voted.
Did you? Okay. Do you mind saying in which state you
Dox
live,
yourself.
or do you give?
What's your address?
I live in California.
Okay.
That's a big
So,
enough place. Hard to dox yourself there. It's basically
There's
a whole
lot of places
nation.
you could be. There's a lot of places you could be. So you're presumably talking about the gubernatorial race, yeah?
Yes.
So, are you going to share who you did or who you intend to vote for? You, of course, don't have to, but it'd be a lot better if you did.
I voted for the guy that his name starts with an X.
Xavier Becerra, yes?
Yes, that's it.
Javier Becerra, depending on how you're pronouncing that. I've heard it both ways.
That's who I voted for.
So you're a Becerra supporter and not a Tom Steyer supporter.
Correct.
Okay. Any insights as to why you made that decision?
Oh, I just don't want a billionaire running I don't know.
Now, I mean, I will say we've got a bad taste in our mouths from Donald Trump being a billionaire who runs the country, but
And Elon.
Well, and Elon for
True.
the time that he spent there. But for what it's worth, I don't hear anything. I don't hear too many negative things about JB Pritzker. At the worst, I hear that he's kind of a, not super good, not super bad. But I mean, Tom, what do you think about this? Do you have an opinion on whether or not Californians should trust a billionaire who's running on progressive policy in California?
I don't. Tom Steyer seems to be like possibly the better candidate, but he also is he's kind of what a lot of these candidates are, which is just kind of like populist trash, just just like spitting out the populist talking points and he's kind of doing like a Donald Trump for the left, where it's, oh, well, I know what the big bad billionaires are doing because I was one of them, and I'm the one who can stop it because I did all of that shit myself. So I know exactly how all of this stuff works, sort of thing. So yeah, it's a lot of sloppulism, a lot of just pushing the right talking points, but he does seem to have the better chance from what I've looked at. So I don't know much about Becerra though.
Well, do you buy into the idea that somebody is less corruptible because they are already rich?
No, not at all. Obviously, Donald Trump and Elon Musk are perfect examples of proving that wrong. Donald Trump has by far the most corrupt cabinet of all time, and is also has by far the most millionaires and billionaires in his cabinet of all time. And interesting fact, you know who he beat in order to get that #1 spot?
Who?
Who's that?
Himself. His first term. His first term by far beat everybody else. And his second term by far beat his first term. So,
Yep.
So yeah, maybe not a great selling point. Also, I hear that he's got an annoying amount of advertisements in California. Have you noticed that yourself, Black Widow?
I haven't seen any advertisements for any candidate.
Oh, okay, well, fair enough. Do
you watch TV?
I don't have TV.
Well, there you go.
I mean, like I have like Netflix and YouTube.
Yeah,
but
all the internet streaming stuff. Yeah, interesting.
Do you have YouTube Premium?
No, sir.
You have an ad blocker.
Oh, that's rough.
Yes, I do.
Ad blocker. There we go.
I do have an ad blocker.
So you're stealing from all of us who depend on ad revenue, is what you're saying. Okay.
We're streaming on YouTube right now. I don't know if you want to be saying that.
Oh, I'm here to support you, dude.
She's gonna buy your stock in Griftcoin. Okay, that's the way she gets her support through.
Got it.
All right. Well,
Grift
with that said, it sounds like you're in a certain amount of alignment as far as reasons not to be sold on this idea that a billionaire populist is going to be an uncorruptible force as the governor of California. So we appreciate you sharing your input on that, Black Widow. And with that said, we appreciate you calling into the Marketplace of Ideas. Tom, we normally max out at 1,000 grift coins. So any amount between 0 to 1,000 grift coin that you think we should give Black Widow, what do you say?
It goes to you, Tom.
Well, I mean, so it's, I think 1,000 is
the full 1,000.
The way to go.
Well,
Interesting.
I mean,
Let's see how it works out for him.
She did, in fact, preempt this call by saying that she would be giving that all to your
I am
stock.
corruptible.
So we'll we'll see if Black Widow
We
holds
could-
to your word. I'm gonna.
We can do an experiment and see if Tom's corruptible after having $1 billion in Griftcoin. We could try that. We could run that experiment right now.
Do you see this cardigan?
Yeah.
Do you see this cardigan?
Yeah, looks nice.
I noticed the
Billionaires
cardigan.
wear this kind of cardigan. This is what we just talked about, how corruptible billionaires are.
Yeah.
And
That is pretty
this is a
fancy.
billionaire sort of
If you-
cardigan.
I noticed
Clearly.
the cardigan because my grandfather wore a cardigan just like
It
that.
doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't have a alligator on it, but it does have a nice fancy mustache that lets you know
Ooh.
that
Does
is
it have
fancy.
a pocket?
No.
Is there a pocket?
I
because he
have
doesn't
people to carry things
to carry
for
his
me.
things. Exactly. Yeah, he doesn't need pockets.
That's a smart way to do it. That's a smart way to do it. See, that's rich people thinking. The poor people are like, I need pockets. No, you need people is what you need.
Yep.
All right.
You need
Well,
manservants.
Black Widow, we have gifted you your 1,000 grift
Called a
coin.
girlfriend.
I'm going to hold you to your word. I'm hoping that you're going to do what you said you did and use all of that 1,000 grift coin to buy Tom's stock. So we'll be on the lookout for that. We really appreciate you calling in. We hope to hear from you again in the future. Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, neighbor.
Absolutely. We'll see you next time.
All right, Tom,
Oh,
you
I
I
sent
think
me.
that girlfriend comment just lost me all of that grift coin.
It
So.
might have. I think it might have slipped by her. Okay, I think it might have slipped by her. You might be just fine, under the radar on that one.
No, I think Black Widow's good for her word. I expect that we'll be seeing an influx of grift coin to the Tom Foolery stock in the
Probably
near future.
taking the third place position with that. Incredible.
Maybe so. Maybe
More developments in the market as we go along.
So yeah, climbing as we continue to release episodes, we'll see how things progress in the future with you as they pertain to the rest of the stock list. I can see that we don't have any more callers hanging out though, and I did want to give us an opportunity, since it was alluded to earlier, that you might want to tease out some questions about James's ideology regarding this dichotomy of holding liberalism and communism within one ideology. Was there anything specific that you wanted to ask James about this perspective that he has?
So earlier you did say that obviously
I sped run
liberalism
some of it,
doesn't as much align with the stateless, classless society.
Emphasis
Do you
on sped.
believe in a stateless, classless society being the end goal?
I think a lot of what is imagined there is about getting rid of the alienation of labor that's caused by the modern system of economy and re-empowering a working class. And those are sort of the things that you maximize for more than the stateless, classless society at the end of the rainbow. And so I really do think that the bridge to what people want in capitalism is built from liberalism. So I don't consider myself anti-liberal in the way that a lot of communists do. It's kind of an unsatisfying answer, especially for fellow communists who are probably just going to be like, well, yeah, he just said it, he's a liberal. I've thought a lot about whether or not to publicly identify.
Well, I mean, even Marx talks about like capitalism being part of economic evolution, and like it is like the best system that we've had so far. So,
in some of the direct quotes I read of his about liberalism were saying not that liberalism in its like ideological form is a problem, but that the reality that has grown from liberalism, the neoliberal status quo, is not living up to liberalism's values. And so to some extent he considered his own project to be the extension of what Enlightenment liberalism wanted to create, but couldn't because of its contradictions through established order hierarchies that protect those existing capital interests and like entrenched classes of controlling people. And that's where I come from is I just want I think that reducing the alienation of labor and empowering the working people. I think those are two noble goals. And at the end of the day, if that's not communism or not Marxism, then I'm happy to say I'm not a communist or a Marxist. But as far as I've looked into it before, like I read Capital 15 years ago or whatever, and then that's just sort
Capital.
of lived in my yeah, that's right. You got to say it like a smart person.
Das Kapital.
Yeah, das Kapital.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why I've still identified as a communist, even though, the advertising for the word communism is not great. Although I don't know if it's gotten better or worse, because now when you say it, you have to eat all of the problems of all of the populist morons on the super far left that don't think beyond, justice now, equality now, break down the hierarchy now, break down the patriarchy now, and they think you can just erase everything and then start fresh, and I think that's obviously foolish.
Well, so I still don't know. We're gonna pull a Pisco, okay? Yes or no?
Yes or no?
Do you want a stateless, classless society?
Between yes or no, the easier answer is just no. Like, that's not what I'm advocating for in my day-to-day.
Do you know what market capitalism or market socialism is?
Tell me what you mean by it.
So market socialism is generally the idea that like businesses will have co-ops that are kind of backed by the government. Like the government makes it to where there isn't just private ownership of businesses anymore, but the workers own the businesses. And so there is a democratic system from the bottom up to where if there is a CEO, the workers vote on the CEO. And if there is a shift manager, the workers are voting on their shift managers. And there will still be different rates of pay for different people and different positions. And then on top of that, the market will still dictate prices based on, how much of it there is and how much people need it. And how much it costs to make all of these things, like the same way that we still dictate prices today, but that the workplace will become democratized in a socialist sort of ideal.
Yeah, I definitely think that we could bring more democracy into the workplace. I definitely understand where that would break apart the profitability of companies and corporations that exist today. And so I wouldn't necessarily want to just crack open that egg and make everything democratic right now. But I think we've been doing that process as people for over 100 years. I think worker protections, that's what that is, except it's at a societal level. We're saying, these things must be minimum thresholds met on behalf of the working class. If we need to have safe working conditions. If we are injured, then we get compensation, and we're not just dying out on the streets. Minimum wage. A lot of these things do incrementally mean those sort of. It is something of a what's the term? Dictatorship of the proletariat. To some degree, that is a dictatorship of the proletariat. The working people have gotten together and said no more to unsafe working conditions and no more to being underpaid and not being paid a living wage. And as society and technology and things move forward, and we find places where we can bring that better democracy and better rights for people all over, then that's when we instantiate them. I don't necessarily think that it will happen maybe eventually there will be that workplace democracy and everything works fine. But, for now we have to work under hierarchies, we have to work under the existing system, and I think abolishing it all at once is just foolish and only leads to disaster. So does that help? Yeah.
Interesting, yeah.
Actually, I wrote a 2,000-word essay that I read on the show.
I stopped listening almost as soon as you started talking.
Fair enough. Yep. That's kind of.
Kidding.
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. It's not splashy. It doesn't advertise. You're just tomming out. I get it.
No. I do. So Vosh is a market socialist, and so that's why I ask you about that. Is because it is like a liberal version of socialism where it doesn't
More
have
liberal
this
version.
end goal of communism. Normally, yes, if you're talking about the Marxist ideology and the process that Marx uses, where he wants like socialism to be a process to get to communism in a way to like slowly give the workers the means of production, that you're kind of like getting rid of that communism as even being the end goal,
Mhm.
and just saying like this is just a way to better handle economics and society and fix issues. But on top of that, they would still probably give a lot of different sectors of the economy to the government, things like healthcare and whatnot, that those parts would still be handled by the government, and you would still pay taxes in a similar way that you do now, and
And there
things
would
of
still be
that
market and
nature
ownership
would
and free enterprise to some degree. Yeah.
mm.
I'm
But the idea that like any CEO would be making like, hundreds of millions of dollars, like that would obviously just kind of disappear if the workers are dictating the salaries of these different positions and saying what it is that they would or wouldn't earn. But they still would be earning a lot more than everybody else. They would still be making more than other positions. And I think that is, of like all of these socialist ideas, that is the most pragmatic one. That is the one that makes the most sense. And it is because even for communists, they look at Vosh and just say, oh, he's just a liberal. Like
Yeah.
he doesn't even believe in real communism. He doesn't believe in real socialism. And they think of him as just another liberal. But it is a liberalized Marxian economic idea.
Yeah, it's a tough thing to. I've been having this conversation with myself for like 15 years about should I identify as a communist when that word is just so ruined by the history of communism, you know? It seems like it would just be smarter to move on.
But socialism and communism have never happened before. So
Sure, of course, yeah. Well, it wasn't our fault. It wasn't us. It was bad people that weren't communists or socialists. Easy
I mean, it is
peasy.
true to an extent. Like for the people who are like actual Marxists, they're not going to agree with Marxist Leninists, and that they're going to like be like, yeah, that's Marxist Leninism. We're not in favor of that. We're in favor of just Marxism. And so like whatever the fuck that is, like that's not us. That's something different. And it is different enough from Marx and what it is that he wanted to where I think it's fair enough to claim that that's not you, but it's it kind of is when you think of the vanguard taking over and the process of this like dictatorship that has to just force everything down people's throats. I would think it would look very similar to Mao and the USSR anyways. Like, I don't know. I don't know what the big difference would actually be.
Well, I've been trying to get to the bottom of this by finally reading Marx again. I downloaded 3 copies of Capital, and so I will not only listen to it 3 times, but I will listen to its evolution over time.
3 different copies?
Yes.
I might be uneducated about Capital. Are there 3 different versions, or did you just...
It
like,
iterated several times. It iterated
okay.
several times, yes.
I was going to say, because you can just reread it again and again. You don't have to
you don't have to keep buying it every time. No, I already read that one. I don't understand these people in their bookshelves. Are you got all those, you haven't read them yet? Or, because when you're done, it's done. You're done with the book. I don't understand these people with their bookshelves. It's insane.
Well, either way,
you should hold a book burning.
Sure. Yeah.
That's a good idea, actually. Yeah. All that paper probably burn pretty nicely. So that's to say that you are re-examining your relationship to communism, James. Would that be a fair thing to say?
I think communism. So socialism existed before Marx. It was something that had been spoken about in the early 1800s, and then Marx came about in the latter half of the 1800s. Communism springs a little forth more directly from his works, but I still don't want that to be the reason why I would go away from the word communism. Not only because I feel like there are a lot of important ideas that are being discussed by people called communists and people called Marxists, and that generally we have an agreement on a lot of these, and I would like to be part of redeeming that movement if possible. I know that's a huge that's where my head's been at. I'm not doing the work of that yet or whatever. I'm not trying to create a social media presence to save communism from the populace or anything. But to whatever extent I lend myself to the conversation and have an impact on it, that is that's why I haven't just given it up completely, because at the end of the day I do believe in creating a government that considers and tries to give the best to everyone. And I think that's what people really mean when they say communist. They don't mean that they follow the Marxist tenets of this, that, and the other. I think
bullshit. No. That's fucking bullshit. No, this is vibes communism. That's what it is, where you're like, I feel like there's principles within communism that match what it is that I feel my values are, and I want to do that, but I have no idea how we would get there ethically or pragmatically. And I don't agree with any of the ways that currently exist, or I haven't heard any that make sense enough for me to get on board with them. But I'm still going to say that I'm in favor of that thing, even though there isn't a thing that I'm actually in favor of. That's that is like vibes socialist, vibes communist. And this is literally like what, SOCDEMs are, where they're just in favor of like socializing more things, making sure the people are taken care of, making sure that people get better wages, that they're, living a good lifestyle, and that we're just constantly trying to achieve the best for people. That is like the same values existing there, except they're overtly in favor of capitalism and the markets that currently exist, while trying to make them as good as possible under our current conditions.
So, James, why do you think that SOCDEM would be an insufficient way to describe?
I think I won. He didn't say anything. I won.
That's a good point. You didn't speak immediately, James. We're gonna have to give
Tom QED. QED didn't talk quick enough. I think SOCDEM is a good description of where my politics are in the short term and the near term. Like, I think it's okay for me to say what I believe we can do today won't get us to the system I imagine us working towards in the long term. I think it's okay for people to say that they believe in a long-term political project that is outside of the scope of what the political landscape allows. And I do believe in that.
But you understand, in order to get there, you do have to have people who are actually pushing the line forward, right? Like having the kind of the almost like centrist sort or fence city sort of rhetoric that isn't like harshly critical of capitalism, harshly critical of the way that things currently exist, and the hierarchies and the pay gaps and like all these different things. Like those are the people who are more radical on these issues and have more radical rhetoric, and that are like really harsh in the way that they point out the disparities. Those are the people that generally are making changes. And when instead you're very much like, oh, I don't know, like if it's, this or that, it's somewhere in there, like, but I'm not like an accelerationist or anything, but I'm also not like the in favor of the status quo. Like you're essentially just in favor of the status quo, like by default. Like you might want better things, but what those better things are, you don't seem to really know. And so
I have a lot of policy prescriptions, and
you are just kind of a SOCDEM.
In the near term, in the short term, I am a SOCDEM, and that is moving the system forward. Just because I want to move at a safe pace that doesn't throw society and everything into chaos doesn't mean that I'm not trying to move forward. I just want to make sure that the bridge is well built before we go out there too far. You know, there are a lot of things, like I do believe that there is something inherently immoral about one person holding such a vast amount of wealth that they get to decide the outcomes of hundreds of thousands of people's lives just on a whim. You know, Elon Musk shouldn't be able to morally or pragmatically either be able to just buy up the world's largest communication platform and dictate the messaging on it. Like, that's obviously wrong, and that is something that is anti-capitalist. I don't think, and you know what, that's a bit of a tangent that I probably shouldn't open, but I'm going to anyways. Being anti-capitalist in and of itself isn't, I don't think that's necessary to the goals of, okay, that's too complicated. We won't get it. There's a lot of contradictory concepts in there that would need to be unpacked. But I don't think that I need to be rushing to the finish line to say that I'm headed towards a finish line.
You have to know what the finish line is. You do have to know what the finish line is.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, again, you are just a sock them. And you can't just put it in terms of like, oh, well, I'm a sock them in the short term. No, you're just a sock them. Like, you just want things to improve from where they are right now. Once we get there, you might find more things that you want to improve from there.
All right.
But that doesn't, like, to say that unless you think that if we just keep improving, we'll just end up in communism one way or the other, just because there will eventually just improve so much that there will be nothing left to improve because we'll be communists now. Like, unless that's the thought process, yeah, you are just a sock them.
All right, I'm bringing up my fake Abraham Lincoln quote that I like to bring out when the argument evolves into this.
Wait, it's a fake Abraham Lincoln
Yeah,
quote?
it's apocryphal.
Yeah, that's the best one.
You know, okay, you know
That's
the
the
one
best
about the
Abraham
swamps
Lincoln
and the
is the fake
compass,
Abraham
right?
Lincoln.
Oh, I thought you knew the quote I was talking about. So they're talking about, it's in the movie Lincoln with Daniel Day-Lewis. If you haven't seen it, definitely go see it.
That's what
Fantastic.
you mean by fake Lincoln. I was wondering what you meant by
Well,
that.
I also mean that the quote is not actually, it's apocryphal. It's not something he actually said, but it works perfectly in the scene. He's trying to get this progressive that is very pro freedom, freeing the slaves, etc., to not say things that are so extreme that it'll alienate the sender away from getting them the progress they can that day. And the metaphor he uses is, and I'm going to go into Lincoln voice for this. What I've learned is that you got a compass. It'll point you true north, but it won't have anything to say about the swamps and canyons that'll get in your way on the way there. So, if you plunge ahead towards true north, not knowing what things will get in the way as you progress, then what good is knowing true north? It's not that this true north of a stateless, classless society that gets rid of the alienation of labor, that brings about equality and empowers people to live their best, most free life away from the perverse incentives of a capitalist structure. It's not like I don't have a there. It's that I'm admitting that if we try and just go charge straight forward, we're not going to get there. It's not that I don't believe that we can get to that end society. It's that I believe that we need to build the bridge brick by brick from where we are today.
Do you know about Martin Luther King's letter from Birmingham jail in 1963?
Sure, yeah.
What he says about the
white moderate? Sure, yeah. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Checkmate.
Yeah, in this case, economically, you are the white moderate. You are.
If you're going to talk about my economic situation, then I am I am not the white moderate in that metaphor, okay? I won't slam dunk this joke that could be so great by saying I would be the black person in that situation.
Oh boy. And with that, that's all the time we have.
Fair enough.
yeah. I
enough.
am someone who needs relief from the problems of this system ASAP. Someone who has a lot to provide, but is being held down by the fucking man. Okay, I've got it tough out here. Yeah, I'm not the white moderate that can just wait by for better times. I'm in the margins, brother. I'm only doing it because I'm only wanting to be moderate and careful because I know the consequences if we don't. Like there are not brilliant solutions in the Hassan Piker camp of communists. This is not the way. It's even less the way than fucking Lenin and whatnot, because at least they read theory. These motherfuckers don't know anything.
Well,
Which,
with that said,
which
I mean,
is why
the only-
I'm rereading Capital for the second time, because they haven't read.
Well, I mean, there's something to be said for the what a word communicates beyond its denotative meaning. When it comes to the label of communist, there's all the different things that you could tease out, but there's also just the way that people think of what that word means today. And to Tom's point, it seems as though where your politics are for right now much more closely identify with a soc dem ideology. Do you describe yourself as soc dem in conversations where you don't want to explain the nuances of your ideology, or do you feel like that's ultimately too much of a mislabel to express yourself in that way?
I think people look at his long hair and his beanie and they're like, he's not a sock down. He's a communist.
This guy is
He's
an
lying.
accelerationist.
Are you telling me that all I need to look like a commie is to put on a beanie?
Yeah, just look a little bit more like you smoke weed.
Well, they look at they look at you and they're like, that guy owns snakes. Like that guy's he's got some
True.
snakes.
That is a snake owning motherfucker right there. You could just
Listen. I'm not above owning a snake. I own a snake. I don't currently have one. I've got a cat. He's not very snake-like, but hey,
if they asked you and you said you didn't
Your
own a snake,
girlfriend would be a communist.
yeah, there we
girlfriend
go.
would be a communist. I would just have to be, now settle down, sweetie. Like, no, I'm serious. We need to stand with we need to re-seize the means of protection. All right, calm down. Maybe that's
Sure,
maybe
we do.
My girlfriend is more accelerationist than I am, and that's a struggle sometimes for me to. Like, I do feel like I'm just like the lame milquetoast liberal in the relationship a lot of times when she's like, we need to go for their heads. And I'm like, that's probably not going to work. Don't do that.
My girlfriend's a liberal accelerationist.
A liberal accelerationist. Okay. How does that work?
Mm.
Explain that to me.
we need to get back to liberalism as fast as possible.
Gotcha.
Yes. If you remember the last conversation where I kept saying, like, I mean, if that's what you guys want to do, that's fine. But I'm in favor of revolution at that fucking point. Like, I'm ready to go right back to where we were. So I need to start arming up.
Yeah, we might be getting there.
With that said, I have one final. Oh no, never mind. I already closed it. I was gonna bring up the final the final round of straw man steel man that we did, where the straw man is literally.
Do you know your stream isn't full screen for your OBS?
Oh, really? It's not. My God.
My goodness.
That is distracting. Well, that's something to fix another time.
You didn't even put a chat over there. Like, you could have had the chat over there the whole time, and you got nothing.
Yeah.
Listen, I know that you probably saw the production quality of the games that we played and thought, my God, what
these
a
guys have their shit together. Yeah.
Like, super planned out, tightly made show. We are in fact in the process of learning how to do this in real time as we
Have you guys seen my intro?
Episode. I haven't seen the intro. I've seen that you've got a pretty elaborate layout on your stream, though. That's you must have taken a couple iterations to get to where you're at.
My intro is very elaborate as well. It is a very, very elaborate intro, actually, and I have like BRB screens that have like all sorts of. It's very, very fancy stuff.
No, we aspire to a similar level. Now, I myself do have a BRB screen that I can show you right here. See, if I ever need to.
Yeah, I saw that last time. That's great.
Yeah, So you know, we've
That's great.
like I said, we are in the process of fleshing out all the different features of the Marketplace of Ideas show as we go.
Yeah, I just put
episode by
Snack
episode.
up on my screen and just start playing that.
Snaking
I
out.
saw that. I'll be honest, it made me want to play. Looks like a fun game.
Yep.
Easy to
Yep, it
pay
is
a
a
little
fun
bit of
game.
attention to it while you comment on the goings on of the world.
I've actually
So,
watched. I've
Yep.
watched Tom play Snake more than I've played Snake. Actually, at this point in my life.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Well, that's I guess a strong endorsement for Tom's entertainment value as he plays online browser-based games, which is
I think
you
a
know.
lot of people are tuning into me more for the Slither play than for politics at this point.
Are they really? Well,
No,
with
absolutely not.
oh, okay. Well, I wasn't sure. I mean, you know, I don't.
You know what? I
very
did.
well
You
could be.
you caught a sick play on there the other day when you were covering some of the drama that's going around. I saw that.
That we are not going to be discussing at all, to be clear, here in the Marketplace of Ideas. We try to stay away from drama slop as much as
Well,
possible,
I-
and we wish
You
everybody
guys,
involved
you came
the
pretty
best
close
of luck.
bringing Connor and me on here.
We
did.
on the Marketplace of
We are
Ideas,
too
we
normal.
try to stay away from drama slop as best we can. We wish everybody in their given situations the best of luck, and we intend to stay a neutral party for all of the online soap operas that I am
Play out
I
in
am
the
quite
background.
frankly shocked exist as much as they do. But yeah, seriously, best of luck to everybody involved in their various situations, whether they are public or not.
I am also
We-
not involved, not into it.
Yeah.
Not all that interested.
Yeah. It would be great. It would be great if we could. Yeah. Keep
well,
on.
hopefully
I've
we've
had my share of my own drama to the point that I'm all dramaed out. So
I've heard
Yeah.
some of those classic stories, the classic Tom stories. Some of those are pretty fun, but we won't get
You
into
know-
them.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I have not. I'm a newcomer to this online space, and the amount of public information that
maybe
people
we should get into them then.
should we really? I don't know. I mean, I was really enjoying the substantive conversation that we had. A nice, while contentious at times, still ultimately a very laid back and measured and, dare I say, controlled substantive conversation about various things going on today in the political landscape. And with that, I would hate to deprive your audience of watching you play the Snake game. So I think we've got a pretty solid episode here that we could turn in. James, did you have anything to add yourself?
Oh no, just very very thankful for Tom for coming back on again. Always a lot of fun to watch you. Been fun having you on the show. We look forward to hopefully inviting you back when we've got something interesting to have you back for. Thanks again.
Yeah, Tom, anything to add
Well,
yourself?
I do edit for other channels from time to time. If you guys check out my intro and you want some help with some of the production, I do help tons of people like set up their streams and
I will take as much
chat up
help.
on their OBS and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So
I will take as much help as you want to get. I was gonna send you a message, and I saw that you're on Do Not Disturb, and I was like, "Hey Tom,
Am I?
really appreciate." That I think it was, and I take that at face value. I don't like to write people who claim.
I
at
don't
least,
know how Discord works, bro. I don't understand. I'm
fair
kind
enough.
of a
Well, then-
boomer when it comes to social media stuff. So, but I know how to set up a stream and I know how to edit. But when it comes to like Twitter, Discord, like all of the other shit, I do not understand it in the least. So.
Well, fair enough. I would love to pick your brain at some point as to how to better run a show, how to better moderate a panel. Lord knows I could use some practice with that. But you would, I'm sure, be a
Bro,
wealth
if
of
you
info.
watched the last time I had Pisco on, I lost my fucking shit. The last time I had him on one of my panels, it is the one time that I absolutely lost my fucking shit. Cause like every couple seconds, so like on the last one, he sat there and he was like, he kept interrupting me and I was like, shut the fuck up. And he's like, there's a lag. And I'm like, okay. And then as soon as I start, he does it again and again and again. I'm like, if you know there's a fucking lag, why do you keep doing it? Like, why does this keep happening? You know, there's I had to mute him so many fucking times during, like, on my pedal, on my show, and it got way too out of fucking hand. That was the worst show I have ever done in my fucking life.
That is a hidden element that most people do not recognize, is that lag, that like 1.5 seconds, maybe half a second, alternating sometimes, like 4 seconds if you got somebody in Germany. And like that is a secret killer because you don't hear it in the finished product at all. You're just like, that guy talked and then that guy talked. But like actually, they started talking at the same time. And so one guy's not being a dick, there's just lag.
I have a number of lags, and I'm sure I can tell that it's like affected where I've jumped in even during this show.
Yeah.
Where like it sounds like there's a pause, and then I start talking, and then you guys are still talking. I'm like, fuck, I missed that. But I have it like where all of my audio comes in through my OBS, and then like rerouted to a specific speaker, then rerouted to my earbuds, which are Bluetooth. So there's already like 3 points of connection there, okay? Then, once I hear it, then I talk into my mic, which goes into a voice meter, which then goes to Discord, okay? So there's another lag even just from when I talk to where you hear me, and I've had to lag my video back to align my voice with my mouth so that you guys
up
see
the layers of lag
at the same time. Yeah. Is it?
Oh god. Yeah,
is it linked up?
It's good. It's
on
good.
your
It's
side?
good. Yeah.
Okay.
You look real.
Okay. So like it's but yes, there are numerous points of where yes, I hear you a little bit late, and then from when I talk to when you hear it, it's already a little bit late. And so there is I have lag by myself, and then if other people have lag on top of that, then yes, it's going to get pretty ugly.
Yeah, I think that it's ultimately it's something that we need to be aware of, especially whenever we hold contentious conversations where there's the chance for people to get impassioned and talk over each other, to make enough space for everybody to respond. There's this incentive that I'm sure that everybody feels to some degree in just normal social settings to fill the dead air with sound. And I think that when we're dealing with these finicky technologies, it's important to give people enough time to respond. So it's something that I hope that I personally get a better hold of how to manage conversations in this space in the marketplace.
Well, I'll tell you, something really made a big difference for me that I learned that really helps is I always had the mindset of like, I want to stay out of the conversation as much as possible unless it gets out of hand. But then once it gets out of hand, I'm like, fuck, I haven't been moderating this whole time. If I jump in now, it's going to be a big shift from the first hour of the show. So I realized heavy moderation early is the point, that like heavy moderation early makes a big difference, because you do want to allow things to get a little bit out of control. You want it to be entertaining. You want to allow things to go on for a little bit and then eventually step in. But then once it gets so heavy to where the people are like screaming at each other. They're just
used to anarchy.
Like, well, I don't want to get in the middle of that
That's
shit.
What happens.
Like, and so now it's like scary. And then it also feels like if you do moderate, the people are going to be like, oh, well, then I'm out. Like, I'm fucking out of here, dude. And
they get accustomed to all that freedom.
Never, ever happens.
Yeah.
Yes. But it literally never happens. Nobody ever fucking leaves. Nobody gets muted and walks off. It never fucking happens. But every moderator it's always in the back of their head. Like, I should mute this person right now, but if I do, they're probably going to leave or they're never going to want to come on again. And like, that's just not the case for anybody. So heavy moderation.
And then that's the culture you end up making for yourself, and you're boned for forever.
Kind of, because you don't have to moderate heavily throughout the entire show. It is more so just like trying. So one of the things that I started doing is that in the beginning of shows, I will start off by asking people questions. And if people start to cross, I'm like, hold on. I need to like get my questions out of the way. Hold on just a minute. We'll get to you, or we'll allow some back and forth in a minute, like, and go through things that way. So then I can turn to like ask somebody a question, hear their answer, and then turn to the other person and say, so what do you think about their answer? Like, and then allow that like back and forth here and there. But then like, yes, jumping in every once in a while to be like, okay, so interesting. So, and
To
like get
reestablish
the other
that
people
role.
included who are not talking. Yes, like heavy moderation, active moderation early, then backing off,
Yeah.
allowing them to like, get into it here and there. But they're already like, yes, accustomed to you being involved in where the conversation goes.
Brilliant.
So it is something that I really had to learn, but like being very strict and structured at the beginning of the show and then slowly letting things go from there really makes a big difference. That, to be honest, that is what I did on the show that I'm talking about. That was a complete shit show. There was no saving that fucking show. Everybody, I have this term, new streamer syndrome, where people come in with the idea that like they have to make a name for themselves. They have to be loud and yell and be aggressive from the beginning. So everybody, oh, I fucking owned that one. And sometimes you'll literally get like 4 people on who, that was that show where all 4 of them come in,
Want to make
with
their
new
mark.
streamer syndrome, where all of them are like, I'm gonna fucking own them and blah blah blah. And yeah, it just turns into absolutely nothing at that point. So
Yeah, well, some great advice that I will definitely take to heart. A gradual process of letting go of the reins, as opposed to simply letting them go at a given point and saying, "Okay, everybody, have at it." I will do my best to implement that in the future. And
Yeah.
let me just say also, a little bit of a Tom Styrism there. Let me say this: hearing you say that, hearing you vocalize that anxiety that I absolutely feel anytime it's on me to moderate a conversation. That is, I believe the phrase is "from your lips to God's ears." That is absolutely a reality for me whenever I'm in that position. So I appreciate you saying that, and I appreciate the advice.
Yeah.
So I hope you don't mind if I ever shoot you a question about how to approach things in the future. If I won't be bothering you.
Yeah, you know what?
yeah, for sure. That cat looks absolutely abused, dude. It is trying to get away from you this whole time. It
He
is
started
really
off as an
terrified of
outdoor
you, and you
cat.
can tell you are.
He started
Yeah,
off
he's-
as an
he's
outdoor cat.
desperate to
Now
get
he's an
away.
inside cat, and he wants his
Okay,
freedom
yeah,
again.
yeah.
He wants his damn
Well,
freedom again.
That's what they all say.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we should sign off on a good note here with some great advice from Tom and
Yep.
well
Be better
wishes to
moderators and
James's
stop
cat.
abusing your cat.
Absolutely. Anybody who's watching on our stream, you can find Tom at the Tom Foolery Show on YouTube. Where else can they find you, Tom?
Just
No, the.
Tom Foolery Show.
Tom
Never
Foolery
mind.
Show.
Ignore what I said. Only remember what he said.
Yes, Tom Foolery Show on YouTube. And then even if you come over to my channel, if you click on the description, you will find a whole list of links to my TikTok, my Instagram, my Twitter, and my Discord, where we are going to be doing a movie night coming up this week. And then I think we're even going to be doing a couple of panels in the next couple of weeks as well. Trying to get back to it. This happens every time where I start doing panels and I do 3. And by the 3rd one, I fucking hate panels. I hate panels. I hate everybody. I don't want people on my show ever again. And then I start to like, a year later, I'm like, fuck, I said I was really going to get back into panels. I was really going to do it this time. And I didn't. I did the same thing I do every time. So I'm going to start it again. And I did the same thing again this time where I'm like, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep doing them. And I got the 3 fucking panels. I was like, fuck, I hate these people. I'm not doing this ever again. This is fucking bullshit. So I'm going to try it again. I'm going to give it another shot. Okay. I'm not going to wait a year this time. It's been about 3 months. So I'm going to give it a
maybe
shot.
you'll slowly build a tolerance until you'll be able to be a supreme panel host that can stand all the
Probably
bullshit. Not. No, I'm probably not.
Probably not. Yeah, probably not.
Another 3 and done until the next time.
Maybe 4 and done. Work
So
your way
hopefully,
up.
yes. Hopefully I'll do 2 3 and dones in a year. And then that'll be, I used to do panels all the time. Like I used to do them all the time. But what I ended up doing is I would do like 3 organized panels. And then after a while be like, fuck that. I'm doing panels now where it's just pop-on panels where I'm just on the day of, I'm going to send out like 20 invites to content creators and just say, hey, if you want to come on tonight, this is what we're talking about. Show up whenever you want after this time. And then just do it like that. People come, they hang out, we talk, we argue, we get into it. But in that case, I'm not like as much of like I'm moderating, you guys are debating. It's more so like this is my show. You can come hang out with me while I'm doing it. Like, and that's I like that version of things a lot better.
Well,
Less
it's
stress,
certainly a load off, trying to book guests who have all sorts of contrasting schedules. So, makes sense if you can get people to come to those callings. If you can just send out those feelers rather than actually have to communicate one-on-one and balance schedules and things like that. It gets tricky for sure. What movie are you going to be doing for movie night?
We haven't decided yet. Some people suggested Obsession. Have you guys seen
I've
the
not.
commercials for that?
I've seen how much money it's been making
Mm.
for. I mean, what's
Do you guys know the
apparently-
guys who
now I
made
know.
it?
No. What? Tell us.
There's a sketch comedy YouTube channel called That's a Bad Idea on YouTube. Great fucking channel. Hilarious. Like these guys are absolutely fucking hilarious. They started off as like TikTokers and just making like short
those
videos
guys.
and
They
shit.
made.
And
Now I gotta see
yes.
it. I love those guys.
Yes.
What
That's
an
literally the only reason that I want to see it is
Yeah.
because they made it and I love their
I
fucking
fucking
comedy.
love those
And I
guys.
actually heard it's a good movie. I heard it's good. I initially wanted to see like the back rooms or something like that,
Mhm.
but I
Yeah.
heard that's absolutely horrible.
Is it?
And so, but I've heard good things about Obsession. I'm not really into like scary movies or anything like that. That they don't really interest me, but the fact that I am a fan of these guys and they made this movie, as I believe the blonde guy is the one who made this movie, interestingly, from that group, but the other guy is in the movie. He's one of the actors in the movie. So yeah, I want to see it just because they made it.
Interesting. Yeah, the YouTube comedy sketch writer to very highly successful horror movie director pipeline is not one that I
Continues,
expected to see happen twice. But the fact that we've got Whitest Kid You Know guy doing movies like that one about the weapons was very successful, and now Obsession also. It's cool to see YouTubers breaking into the mainstream and being successful.
Yeah.
Peele kind of somewhat fits that genre as well, where from Key and Peele,
It's
where
sketch
he
comedy.
did,
It's improv comedy.
Get Out, and yeah, it's like, well, he did the Get Out movie, and he did another one that was similar to Get Out as well.
Yep.
That I heard. Yeah, I heard good reviews for that one as well. So yeah, I think that one's similar, where like it seems like comedians see the world like in a very different, almost like autistic, overtly pragmatic way.
Yeah.
Where it's very like everything seems very obvious to them. Whereas like, I don't know if you guys went through this, but there's a point where, for me, I think you start to realize how much socialization plays a part in like every part of your life. And you start to like see things from this above view and you're like, oh my goodness, that's so weird. And you once in a while just kind of like snap out of it and think, wait, this is weird that we do this stuff. Isn't that weird? Like comedians seem to see things that way all the time a lot. And that they're able to make movies of any sort of genre at that point, it feels like, because they're able to see things in a very pragmatic way. So I think that they're just generally very creative and able to kind of caricature things and people better than most.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. The idea that somebody could take something mundane and make it unsettling just by exposing some small aspect of it. I guess there is a line of logic, although you wouldn't think that necessarily. The comedy to horror transition, but excellent. If you want to watch Obsession or maybe a different movie that they'll be watching in Tom's community, you can go join them later this week and do that. And if you're watching from Tom's stream and you liked what you saw here, this is the Marketplace of Ideas. We do shows generally every Monday. We typically have guests, or we'll just be chatting about the political landscape, the media landscape, and things of that nature. Feel free to hop over to our YouTube channel real quick. Give us a like and subscribe. We would greatly appreciate your support. And Tom, thank you so much for coming back. We'll look forward to having you again, sir.
Awesome. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Cheers, Nate.